Akakū's 2026 Maui Nui elections broadcast is generously supported by our title sponsors, Mahi Pono, provider of high-quality Maui-grown food, and West Maui Taxpayers Association, advocating for and making a difference in West Maui. And mahalo to our business, nonprofit, and individual sponsors, and to our local food donors. Welcome to Akakū's 2026 primary election coverage with hosts Rick Nava and Cami Clark.
Aloha and good evening. My name is Rick Nava, and I'm honored to be your co-host for Akakū's 2026 primary election coverage. I am here with campaign analyst Cami Clark, an editor with the Hawaii Journalism Initiative.
Thanks, Rick. Tonight we will be looking at some exciting races with a lot of new faces. We will have candidates and community leaders in the studio to talk about the issues. We will show you some of the videos about the Lahaina homecoming event and recovery of the Kula watershed. And of course, we will have all the latest up-to-date election results as they come in. But
today also is a somber occasion. It is the 3rd anniversary of the devastating wildfires that struck Lahaina and upcountry. That means much of what we will be discussing tonight will be about recovery and remembrance of the lives we lost. To start our broadcast, we will be welcoming Mayor Richard Bissen. He is running against 9 other people in the race. It's going to be such an exciting race, isn't it? It should be. Can't wait for that.
Yes. We have Yuki Lei Sugimura, who is the Vice Council Chair, who is one of his main competitors. And then we also have Denise La Costa and 7 others that are all vying.
Yes, they're all vying in to be the mayor here on Maui. And as I'm looking at my list here, because there's so many of them, I can't remember all their names. So we got La Costa, you mentioned, Amy Peterson, and who else do we have here? John Denver, Travis Leggett, Callahan Wells, Joseph Moses, Justin Herman, and Lauren Zhang.
It's quite a field, and as we know, the top 2 people, vote getters today, will be going against each other in the general election on November 3rd.
Okay.
And now we are very fortunate to have our mayor of Maui County, Richard Bissen. Thank you so much for joining us.
Well, thanks for having me.
I know.
Welcome, Mayor.
How's your day going?
Oh, we're just chilling.
Yeah, great.
Obviously, it's election day, but it's also a very somber day with the 3rd anniversary of the Lahaina fires. Can you just talk a little bit about what you have done over the past 3 years to make our county, more safe with these kind of emergencies, whether it's fire, floods, or that sort of thing?
Yeah, thank you for that. Well, first of all, we increased the size of our fire department. Soon after, months after the fires, we put in a request for 29 new firefighter positions throughout the county. That was approved by the council, so my thanks to the council for supporting that. Our MEMA, Maui Emergency Management Agency, there were 9 personnel. Today there are 25, and there will be 6 others that were added by the council. There'll be a total of 31. But we've also added in AI, Genesis Protect. We have cameras out in the fields. There was an after-action report that came out by the Attorney General's office after the fires, obviously making recommendations. I can say we've implemented a large number of those in our actions now. We have a state-of-the-art EOC, Emergency Operating Center. Some of you may have had the chance to do a walkthrough. 10,000 square feet, 27 screens of being able to capture situational awareness, being able to coordinate better with all of our partners. There's so many partners that take part in our emergencies. We've had a number of emergencies since 2023, and we've just shown the response has gotten better and better and better. So we learned, and we implemented, and now we're executing what's going on.
I know my phone rings off the hooks with notifications.
Well, you know, most of the people on Maui now are so, I don't want to use the word resilient, that gets used a lot. The word I would use is vigilant. I think our community, because we lived through it, Rick's a Lahaina resident, he absolutely lived through it. But I think we all were impacted in some ways, and what we know now is how to get ahead of that, right? Messaging, preparing. And I will just add that preparation is everyone's responsibility, the entire community. So when I use the word vigilant, people today will tell me, Mayor, the grass looks a little high. Mayor, the wind is picking up. You know, people know the cues and what to look for. And so now our people, our entire community is all on the watch, on the lookout. And on top of that, all the things that I talked to you about, the technology, you know, we've put our money where our mouth is. We've expanded, like I said, positions, equipment, apparatus. We've educated ourselves through training, partnering with other communities. Yeah, we've done about everything we could think of to be as prepared as possible.
Right. And obviously, you've repeated this a lot, that, you know, housing was the first priority, get people back in the houses, rebuild the residences of Lahaina. Can you talk a little bit about now maybe putting a little bit more emphasis on the commercial district and people getting their businesses and jobs back?
Yeah, I'm happy to. We absolutely has. I will just say, when I ran for office in 2022 and I sat in these rooms, we talked about housing then. Housing was an issue before the fire. The fires exacerbated that, which is what brought on other, I guess, solutions and ideas, such as Bill 9, which I know can be controversial for a lot of folks. I think the more people understand it, the more they will come to, I think, understand it and agree with it more. But certainly, for us, you know, I think I can say we have about 600 housing units that have been built in Lahaina, another 400 that are currently under construction. And there are several others that are waiting in the queue. But on the commercial side, we have 5 building permits that have been approved. There are a couple more that are waiting, and over a dozen more that are in some phase of permitting. The governor and Director Ed Sniffen opened the Lahaina Harbor in December. That brought back some commercial activity. We opened the railing, the seawall, and the sidewalk, and the paving of Front Street. August 1st, Front Street opened as well to vehicular traffic. Next month, Uluolele Marketplace, thanks to the help of Kuhio Lewis and the folks at the Hawaiian Council. Hawaii Community Foundation was another partner. That's going to allow for 17 structures that will have varying sizes that will be able to have
people are looking forward to that.
We are all looking forward to it. The biggest decision, I think we have about 95 applicants for 17 positions. But what we know is that people will rotate. We're going to rotate folks through there. Now, if you're an impacted fire, impacted business, those are the ones that we're giving priorities to, of course. Yeah. And then there'll be 8 food trucks, and then there'll be a stage where they can have you know, entertainment. So there'll be lots of activities starting to come out. The Lahaina Cannery Mall, the Economic Recovery Commission, that's been helping with that. I think there was just an article in the paper from Tamara Garrett just recently, just talked about that. Yep. So, you know, we're hoping things are on the upswing, and that we want to create pathways to allow businesses and commercial properties to be able to rebuild.
So if you get reelected mayor, you know, obviously there's been a lot of focus on Lahaina, but, you know, obviously Maui is also a very big island. So what would be like one of your couple priorities for your second term?
Well, I would just say Lahaina is the obvious attention we've given, but we've given attention throughout our whole island. You know, we have built 880, so almost 900 affordable homes in the last 3.5 years. That's a 190% increase over what it was over the last 10 years. We've averaged less than 100 a year before that. We built over 2,000 homes, market as well as affordable housing, in the last 3.5 years. So our plan right now, and these are plans that are on the books, are another 5,000 in the next 4 years, 5,000 housing units. So that's a huge number. And that, again, the reason for that, 3,000 of those, are, by the way, will be affordable housing units, and there'll be other market ones. But really the key to that is the water systems, making sure we have water so that we can have homes, and our wastewater reclamation facilities. So you gotta have wastewater and you gotta have that. And those are things that we've looked at throughout the county. There's been lots of talk about us trying to acquire water systems in West Maui. Again, through the help of the council. We need to go through the council for these requests. Right. So there are 4 water systems in Olowalu and Launiopoko. We're well on the way for 3 of them. We're looking at the 4th one that needs to clear council. We signed a memorandum of understanding with Maui Land and Pine. So.
That's all awesome. Well, we can't thank you enough for coming into the studio tonight, and good luck in your race.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor.
Don't be so talkative, Rick.
Thank you. He wants the unbiased one for this one.
Okay, thank you. Thanks, folks. All right.
All right, Mayor.
Okay,
Thank you so much. Take care.
So now we obviously have a national race, a couple of U.S. district seats for House of Representatives, and it's going to be quite a race. But it looks like Jill Tokuda and Ed Case are both way ahead in their races.
Is Jill going to be coming here already on Zoom, or I thought? Yeah. So today. Today, Hawaii had the national election stage all to itself with the only primary. The state's 2 seats in the U.S. House of Representatives are on the ballots. A lot is at stake nationally during the midterm elections. With the balance of power at stake, the Democrats have the opportunity to regain control of the House. While there is also a possibility of Democrats could take this over the state.
We are really fortunate that joining us by Zoom is U.S. Congresswoman Jill Tokuda, whose District 2 includes Maui County. Welcome, Jill. Well, Congressman, well, I guess we don't have the Congresswoman with us yet. But we can go back to the results. So we have, right now, she is leading the U.S. House District 2 for the Democrats by 84%. Obviously, a lot of people think she's doing a great job. And then Ed Case, who represents most of Oahu, he's also leading his Democratic side with 57.3% of the vote.
Yeah, I'm looking at this report here. And the State House 14, which is Lahaina, we have Snake Patel with 720 votes, Ashley Olson, 62 votes, and Kanamu Balinbin at 554. It's a very close race between those 3 Democratic candidates.
Yeah,
and of course, we have Elle Cochran at 495 and Paʻele Keoni.
Yeah, and of course, Elle and Paʻele are already going to the general election. So one of the Democrats is going to be the third person in that general election come November 3rd.
Yep. I mean, yeah, just looking at this is the first printout, of course, so there's going to be more ballots coming in. I understand that people are still lining up to vote earlier, so we got a long way to go.
Yeah, if they were.
And we're going to be here till 11 o'clock.
Just a few more results for governor. Of course, Josh Green has a commanding lead in the Democrats for 83.1%, and we also have. Gary Cordery, he is leading on the Republican side. For lieutenant governor, that's also a very exciting race. And for that, Derek Kawakami, who is the mayor of Kauai, he is got a command and lead this early vote with 63.7% of the vote.
It's an interesting race coming up along here. And then for the county council in Wailuku, and the Marvin Moniz, who is the former manager of the Kahului Airport, is at 8,713. Ashley Lindsay, 4,682. James Forrest at 3,544. Randy Konohea, 2,854. And Alan Lloyd at 1,183.
And in the upcountry race, Bobby Pahia, farmer in upcountry, he is leading with 39% of the vote over 4 other contestants. And again, it's very, very early, in the voting. We're not sure how many percentage we have of all the votes yet.
Okay.
Why don't you take over the Kahului race?
Kahului. Oh, yes, we have Kauanoe Batangan, who was appointed when the late Tasha Kama passed away at 10,631 votes. Lee Kamekona at 8,097 votes, and Jason Ababan, 1,636. Lee will be joining us later on this evening.
Absolutely. And the county council races are super important because it could change the balance of the council. Right now it's a little bit of a moderate majority, but the progressives are leading in a couple of these races, so it could change the balance.
Yeah, it sure could. We do have 3 candidates who are unopposed. That would be Gabe Johnson, Keani Rawlins, and Naie Hajans. And Gabe Johnson will be here later on as well on the Zoom meeting. So there's a lot of things coming on, and we're looking forward to talking and interviewing all these candidates who want to serve the people of County of Maui.
Yeah, it's always interesting to watch the council meetings. I've been in many of them, and they go back and forth. And while a lot of votes are 9-0, there's a lot of 5-4 splits. So some of that could change and go more to the progressive side if the progressive wins, or it could even be, stay, the way it is now with a more moderate balance.
Yeah, well, as long as they're doing what they feel is best for the people of County of Maui, that was the reason why it became a nonpartisan. So, I feel like if these council members will do what they feel is best for Maui, then we'll be okay, right? And not so much swayed by one way or another by the party or anything like that. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to the to the result this evening, as well as moving forward for the general election. So, yeah.
What would you like to see the council tackle this?
Well, the big issue right now, of course, is always the the economy. The cost of living here on Maui is very expensive, Lanai and Molokai especially. And so that would be a big deal on the economy, surely, and of course housing.
Right.
So, we always talk about the unemployed, but there is a lot of people here on Maui because of the cost of living who are underemployed. And as the mayor talked about, the commercial properties and all of that, that brings in a lot of employment to the people of Maui. So for me in Lahaina, I really would love to see more things happening on Front Street. Right. Because that's where a lot of people got their second job that would enable them to live here on Maui. So we'll see how that's going to go.
So now we are fortunate to have joining us by Zoom in the U.S. is U.S. Congresswoman Jill Tokuda, whose District 2 includes Maui County. Welcome, Congresswoman. How are you, Jill? Oops. I think we're having technical difficulties here, trying to get hold of Jill. So right now Jill has a commanding lead in her race. I think she's at 84% in the Democratic race.
78,900.
Yeah. Yeah. Oops, I think we're trying to get a hold of her. Oh. Oh, we're just working on her audio now. Love technology.
Well, that's good, though.
Okay.
She's taking the time to talk to us. She's traveling.
Hi, Jill. Can you hear us now?
She can hear us, but
we can't hear her.
Oh, okay. Can you hear now?
Oh, we should hear you loud and clear.
Okay, great, because I'm about 5 from my playing board.
Oh, well, we'll go real fast, Jill. So obviously, we had a lot of federal response right after the fires. Can you tell us what is happening now for the the more long-term recovery?
Yeah, no, and I was just over at the memorial for the 3rd anniversary of the fires. And in addition to just the CDBG funds, you know, coming in and having those disaster relief funds put out there to help with housing, to help with economic support, rebuilding, that's really critical. But now it's also about making sure that we work to ensure that the businesses get the help that they need, that we make sure from a federal perspective, we're not standing in the way. And as you know, one of the things that was really important for me to pass at the federal level, and we were able to do that with disaster Republicans and Democrats, the tax relief package for our Lahaina residents, to make sure that no one pays taxes on any of the settlement money that they have to them, so that every single dollar can really go towards rebuilding. So I was very proud to be a part of the group of leaders to pass that out of the House. I understand it passed out of the Senate. So that is great. And then, again, more money coming to survivors, that's really critically important. So the federal government has to do everything it can to help in those efforts.
And obviously, these midterms are very important for the balance of both the House and the Senate. Can you talk a little bit about, you've been on the minority side, but the House may go blue, maybe the Senate even go blue. How would that help with things that you might bring back home to Maui?
One of the big things we've been fighting against as a minority are the cuts to the social safety net, Medicaid, Medicare, SNAP benefits as well. If we can get gavels in hands, we can start to restore that safety net. But bottom line is we have to be working with Republicans as well to really do this, because it will be a tight majority no matter what, no matter who takes over. And so, again, working across the aisle, but taking those gavels back will help us to restore that social safety net that everyone absolutely needs, especially our ohana here in Maui.
Obviously, tariffs, the Iran war, a bunch of other policies have really driven up cost here on Maui and elsewhere in the country. What can you do, and what have you been trying to do to fight those types of policies that are really driving prices up here?
Absolutely. I've introduced the Tariff-Free Farming Act to remove all tariffs on agriculture inputs, because that has driven up the cost of our food. Over $80 billion in tariffs are paying agriculture inputs alone. That increased the cost of foods. It meant farmers went out of business. And so that's one thing I've been pushing through the Agriculture Committee, working with the bipartisan effort on the coffee gifts, was able to get coffee input removed from the tax list, fighting with Republicans and Democrats to call administration to those tariffs. Bottom line, right now we are seeing billions of dollars in refunds to tariffs going to corporations. Let's be clear, you paid those dollars, those funds should be come to you. And we have got to do our job in Congress to make sure that as tariff refunds go out, they were taxes on you, you deserve the rebate.
Well, I understand you've got to catch a plane, so thank you very much for joining us, Congresswoman, and good luck with your race.
Thank you so much. Take care.
Although the recovery of Lahaina continues to take center stage, some people forget that Kula and Upcountry also got hit pretty hard by the wildfires. The next two videos will show you how Kula is doing the road to recovery. After that, don't go away. We will be right back here in the studio with County Council Vice Chair Yuki Lei Sugimura. She is trying to become the Maui's next mayor.
Today we are at the Kula Community Watershed Alliance Native Plant Nursery. The Kula Community Watershed Alliance is an alliance of the fire survivors from Kula, Maui, who came together in the wake of the August 8th, 2023 wildfires, and created an alliance to bring in resources to help restore the soils that were really badly impacted by the wildfires, and to execute landscape scale ecological restoration within the burn scar area so that we can protect this watershed for future generations. So we're about 3 years after the fires, and we've been doing a lot of work raising funds and bringing resources together to do this ecological restoration of the area. A lot of fundraising has occurred, and now we're in implementation phase. We're building 2 miles of fence to keep the deer out of the area that we're restoring. And right behind me is our native plant nursery, where we're growing more than 20,000 native plants that are all native to the Kula region and Haleakala. So we're grabbing plants that came from Kula and we're bringing them back into the environment here. You know, the fire didn't start on August 8th. The fire's been burning for hundreds of years because we've changed the ecological identity of the landscape, and we've allowed fire-adapted species to grow across massive landscapes, and now we're suffering from the effects of that. We're trying to take a system that was here for thousands of years and give it CPR and bring it back so that it can grow on its own. And it takes all these steps for us to be able to do it right. But if we do all the steps in the right way, then this forest will be able to grow on its own. And then all the native seeds that fall into the gulch will be able to plant themselves all the way down to Kihei. Today's the first day, you know, like you plant the plants today so that 500 years from now, it's a self-sustaining system and future generations can thank their forefathers for having the forethought, you know. And thanks to the Naheliho Foundation and the Palehunui Sanctuary and the Kula Community Watershed Alliance, we're bringing all the elements together for this to be long-term successfully.
And today we are clearing out some of the fuel loads in this gulch back here that are a potential threat to surrounding residents. Initially, we were just a group of people who established the distribution hub up here in Kula after the fire. After some time passed, we saw the need for a handful of different things like that went beyond resource distribution. We have a couple different programs like our fuel load reductions. We do our best to clear waterways. We have a kupuna curbside green waste pickup for those who aren't able to, you know, take care of those things themselves, fortifying their homes from fuel load reductions. We have green waste bins scattered around Kula as well, open to the community, and you know, just provides a location for people to get rid of those fuel loads without having to go down to the landfill that's close to home. I mean, I think we've made a lot of progress. We've definitely done a lot of work. Our website speaks to those metrics for sure. And we're at the point now where we're seeing homes be able to be rebuilt, which is really exciting. And we've also been able to start shifting into replanting phases, which is just in itself like a really exciting pivot. Coming up on 3 years now, I think we all just like to see the impact that it makes and see people smile. And you know, we get these written and video testimonies from people who we've helped. I'm from up here, I was born and raised up here, so it's a labor of love at the end of the day. So, you know, fortunately, we have a really fantastic team, and everybody involved really truly does love to be here. And you know, a resilient community is a very important part to not only keeping everyone safe and all of that, but maintaining organizations like this. Because as a community, everyone helping each other is the only way that we've seen the success that we have. So I'd say that's what I'd like people to know.
Back here in the studio, we have County Council Vice Chair Yuki Lei Sugimura, who is one of the 9 candidates trying to unseat Mayor Richard Bissen. Sorry. Welcome, Yuki. How are you?
Thank you.
You are very colorful tonight.
Yes, I'm very grateful.
So this is the 3rd anniversary of, you know, obviously a very tragic thing. Could you tell us, you know, what you would try to do different as mayor to speed up the recovery as opposed to what you could do on Maui County Council?
So the reason I'm, you know, moving forward, I move forward from the vice chair of the council is so I can do more for the people of Maui. And this is a right step for me to run for mayor so that I can help all people. It's very important.
And obviously one of the biggest issues facing Maui County is housing. What would you propose as mayor and something that you could do differently than what you were able to do as a county council member? Yeah,
so that's a great question because exactly why I'm running. What I would do as a mayor is to build housing. and to do the things that we do best, which is infrastructure, water, wastewater, roads. And to take county property is what I've been saying for the last several years, and to then build affordable housing, create jobs for working families, and really to do housing for working families. I don't mean only the lowest income, which is what we often do with affordable housing, but to build housing for our firefighters, our teachers, our nurses, and our police officers, right? So those are that's my objective and my focus as part of my initiative for why I'm running for mayor. Very important.
Obviously, coming from upcountry, you know that some parts of the islands understand why Lahaina has taken a priority the last 3 years. But what would you see if mayor of some of the priorities in other parts of the island that should be tackled?
I stand from gratitude that unfortunately Lahaina happened. And if it wasn't for the magnitude of Lahaina, we probably would not get the massive amount of federal funding that we received. So in upcountry for all these 3 years, especially from the period that we had the wildfire and the impacts, is that really Kula stood with gratitude and appreciation for the amount of federal funding that we were able to receive. And what I would do differently is that I would be sure that their voices were heard, and I'm trying to do that along the way. But we know that West Maui's losses, especially the lives and everything that the people of West Maui and all over the island experienced during the wildfire was very tragic. And the response that the County of Maui gave at the time of the wildfire impact, which was immediately, it could have been faster. We could have asked for the National Guard to help us, and I wish we did, because who did come to the rescue were the citizens of Maui County, and that was difficult. Running for mayor, I've heard from many people who were part of the reacting and helping, and in fact, just today I heard of more stories. There's so many people who came to the rescue of the people of West Maui, and that we need to thank everybody. I think we don't do that enough. But what we could do better is, to learn from the mistakes that we had and be sure that this never happens again, which is, part of what we can do from the Maui County Council in terms of policy work. And that as the mayor of Maui County, I propose to take faster action and to help, a disaster, and to make sure that it doesn't happen again. I also have been saying over this last period that we have been living from disaster to disaster with the County of Maui, and that by me being out talking to the people and groups, and I've talked to many groups running for mayor, is that there's a lot of people who are saying, okay, what about us? There's a lot of Lahaina residents who are feeling forgotten. And the commercial district, which is unfortunately almost non-existent. So the homecoming, event, which happened last month, that I went to, and I walked Front Street and just saw, how sad it is, and you must see it. That it's basically a barren place. All the commercial properties that were there, we have forgotten about them, and that should have been coming up, I would imagine, simultaneously, not with the, I guess the priority, I think, is what the county did, took residents first. Yes, that was important, but we should have brought both of them up together because we need jobs. We need to bring, economic development back, and we're lacking in that.
I did the commercial property owners on Front Street, and there was very frustration for the first couple of years. Things are starting to move faster now, working out some of the permitting issues and stuff. What do you think that you could do to speed that process up even further?
I would do it, right? So what we've been seeing is nothing or very little. And I believe that what we've heard is rhetoric, that we are doing it. If you really talk to the business owners, which they have been talking to me, is that it's not happening as fast as they want it. So we as the county council, we have forgiven real property tax collection for those that were impacted in the fire zone areas, and we've been sensitive to whatever help that we could do. But in terms of the rebuild, I will strongly stand by doing more for commercial because it's very little. You know, Rick, you know, the West Maui Taxpayers Association, Joe Pluta, all of you have been advocates for the commercial businesses that are really, they're struggling. I think a lot of them have gone, you know, and it's hard for them to come back after we're going on, well, we are now 3 years. So we need to give them some preference.
Yeah. Kemi and I were just talking about that as well, is that, you know, we talk a lot about the unemployment, but the situation right now, especially in West Maui, is the underemployed. It's very expensive, especially in Lahaina, so, you know, it's great that's being addressed.
That would be a priority, yeah.
Well, thank you, Yuki Lei, very much for coming in and being part of this, and good luck in your race.
Yes, we are.
Thank you, Yuki Lei. Thank you for joining us
We're working
this
hard,
evening.
and we will continue working hard. We are up against, you know, a lot, but as an organization in my race, you know, I always said this is David and Goliath, right? So we'll continue to work hard, and we will win. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
you.
Okay, yep, thank you so much.
Thank
yes.
Well, Rick, it's going to be a really, really interesting mayoral race.
Yep.
The top 2 vote getters from tonight move on to the general election on November 3rd.
Yep, we got the first printout. Yeah. So looking at the first printout here, Mayor Bissen currently has 45.9% of the vote that came in. That's 11,510. And council member, mayoral candidate Yuki Lei Sugimura is at 8,814.
Yeah, it's going to be, these are early
counts, so.
ones coming in, but it's going to be very, very interesting race come November.
Yes.
And so,
For more than 100 years, the Maui News kept residents informed as the major newspaper on the island. But in recent years, newspapers have lost revenue sources and have competition from digital sites. The once local paper was downsized by its absentee owners, and most of the award-winning staff was laid off or quit. The good news is that the paper is back in local hands with the purchase of the paper by a local nonprofit. Here to talk about it is Axel Beers. Axel, nice to see you again. Nice to see you, and Jenny Default. Welcome, Axel. Welcome, Jenny.
thank you. Go ahead.
Oh.
Well, I'll start because being a journalist of 45 years, showing my age. But can you guys tell us how this all came about? How did the nonprofit start, and where'd you get the money to buy it? That's what I want to know.
So I'm Axel Beers. I am the president of the board of the Maui Nui Media and Creativity Collaborative. As of last week, it's just been a week, we became the new owners of my publishing company, which includes the Maui News and its printing press. We formed about a year ago. Well, it starts with the story that we read in the Maui News in May 2025 that said that Kaiser had bought the building and Maui News had a year to vacate. And so I reached out to Jenny and some folks to just kind of understand what was going to happen to the paper, what was going to happen to the press. And from there, learning that, you know, if nothing changed, the press would be basically junked and Maui News would be printing out of somewhere else. And that sad story of journalism, local journalism especially, continuing to shrink would continue. So I got together with a few of my friends, Alika Seki, Lance Collins, and Anuhea Yagi, and we formed this nonprofit with the express goal of like moving forward, saving this press, and then later saving the Maui News. It's a seed that we planted, but really the fertile soil that seed was planted in goes back years to conversations that I've had with these people. Again, they're my friends first and foremost, and people that I admire in the community. And we all come at it from different angles. Like Lance Collins, as we know, such an advocate for justice and accountability, and this idea that we would always talk about how great it would be to have a community-driven press, a newspaper for public interest journalism, for accountability, for news being that first draft of history, which he's used in his original scholarship. And Alika Seki, as the owner of Maui Comics and the person who runs Maui Comic-Con, we would have these conversations on Market Street, outside requests, with the kids walking home from EAL school, picking up a comic book, just how great it would be if we could tell the stories of our young people through the mediums that speak to them, if we could find ways to support them getting published. And then Anu, Anu as a student of Hawaiian Life Ways and Practices, she really has that heart to revitalize the history of printing here on Maui. The fact that Lahaina Luna was home to the first printing press in the Hawaiian Kingdom, right? And at that time, there were hundreds of Hawaiian language newspapers and the most literate population in the world. And we had both worked for Maui Time and have seen the decline of not just the shrinking of the Maui News, but the loss of these small papers from the Maui Weekly, Haleakala Sun, Lahaina News even, and just how we can tap into our history and that legacy and continue moving forward. So.
Well, let me ask you, Jenny, what is your vision for the paper? I understand that you came from another publication on the mainland.
Yes, I've been in the newspaper industry for a little while now.
And not as long as me,
No, I haven't. Came down to Maui in August of 2024, and really just came in to help get a handle on where things were at. Discovered a lot along the way, and was able to see all the changes that had happened to the Maui News over the years, which I have seen at other newspapers too. But the more I got involved, the more I really started to care about Maui, and preserving the archives, making sure that the community is represented. And like Axel said earlier, it's difficult with resources going away faster. It's not like the old days, but
unfortunately,
I just really wanted to make sure that this paper stayed in the community, and so that became our mission and goal. It started with saving the press, and turned into, well, what if we brought the Maui News under this too? And the owners were open to it, and they agreed that it would be the best thing for the newspaper. So they worked with us to make that happen. And I think the most important thing to say about our vision is it's a community newspaper. And we brought it back for the community, and we want the community to be involved. We don't know 100% what that looks like yet. It's happening quickly now that our dream has come to reality. But yeah, we're excited. We're really excited.
Thank you for doing that. So are you going to go back into printing this every day? I mean, I say that because I was just talking to a gentleman a few hours ago where they said, I wish we had, where we could actually read about the candidates more on paper, because not everybody goes online and look at this, and they still want that paper, just like me. I still read books.
Yes.
Yes.
And so I was like, especially our older voters, they want that paper.
Right. Yes, they do.
That's the reason why I said that.
Yeah, well, one of and we're so grateful and excited by just the community outpouring of support and love that has been shown to us since we took over the paper. But one of my favorite interactions was when I was just picking up a stack of papers at Foodland, because you want to cut out the paper with your photo on it and maybe put it in like a little frame. But when I handed the stack over to the cashier, she goes, "Oh, you know that it's locally owned now, right?" And I'm like, "Oh yeah, I kind of do know a little thing about that." But I was able to have a conversation with her, and she expressed this idea, like you're saying, Uncle Rick, about just how important it is for our kupuna that there's something physical and tangible. But I'm also really grateful for that interaction, because it was an interaction I had with somebody, right, the workers, the people of Maui, about something that's in the news that mattered to them. And when we have this tangible paper, right, that's something that, those are interactions that you can have and savor that allow for like meaningful dialogue over these important issues.
Well, as a longtime journalist, I wish you guys well. I have seen the demise of newspapers, and it's very sad. And the best thing in any market is multiple publications and sources. So Wish you guys the best of luck.
Can I make, we have a special announcement, and sorry, this relates to what you were saying, Rick, about elections coverage.
Yes.
And the press release just ran out today, and I just want to let everybody know that one thing that we're able to do with this philanthropic model, right, is source funding and reciprocate gifts and return that funding back into something that's of value to our community. So due to a generous gift from investigative reporter Ian Lind and his wife Mita Chesney Lind, we have a $10,000 investigative elections reporting fellowship that we launched today. The applications are open. Applications will close on September 7th, and they will be publishing print first content for 8 weeks, starting with the publication date on August 1st through the elections. So this call that you're talking about, which is really critical reporting on our elections, we will be trying our best to get that and meet the needs of our community.
Thank you. That's wonderful. Again, like I said, it does make a big difference during the election. People really get into it. So.
Yes. Well, thank you both for
Thank you
being
both,
here,
yes.
and like I
Thank
said,
you.
maybe I'll apply.
Right. We'd love to have you.
All right.
Nice to see you.
Take care, Denise. Nice to see
Thank you.
All right. Aloha.
So Maui County has become a news desert, hopefully not as much now with you guys. But across the nation, including on Maui, public and community media is under attack on the federal and state levels. This threatens your access to free expression and also to diverse viewpoints. Sadly, the state of Hawaii has sided with the cable giant Spectrum to cut Akakū's funding. Here's the latest news about it.
Hawaii has been pretty good over the years at preserving open space and was one of the first and only states to protect electronic green space by requiring community access cable television channels by law in every county.
Aloha. Thank you for joining us here in Hawaii, where we are proud and fortunate to have a vibrant community media network of public access channels.
A place you can trust, where you don't have to log in, be subject to censorship, manipulation by hidden algorithms, or have your personal data compromised.
On April 27, 2011, Governor Abercrombie signs a bill to protect public access.
Done. Absent the capacity, the desire, the determination of Akakū and its brothers and sisters all across the rest of the state, we wouldn't have this opportunity to be able to get information and perspective and discussion out there, and you don't want to let it go.
But today's DCCA is more than happy to let it go. The People's Electronic Commons is now in process of being defunded by the Hawaii Department of Commerce and Consumer Affairs in partnership with their corporate masters they're so eager to serve, Spectrum. And on April 2nd, DCCA ignored nearly unanimous opposition from hundreds of Maui Nui residents.
We're under the assumption you work for us, and that doesn't seem to be the case right now.
And dropped a 15-year franchise renewal for Spectrum on Maui County, cutting millions from Akakū's bottom line. And DCCA is not done. Naleo on Hawaii Island and Alelo on Oahu are next to get the axe. The fight is not over. Akakū and our esteemed colleagues will continue to fight this gross betrayal of a public trust. The question now is whether or not our elected officials will listen and act to undo this travesty. This is an election year, after all. Why don't you ask them?
Hawaii Department of Commerce and Consumer Affairs is planning on cutting nearly half of Akakū's budget in January. This is Maui Nui's TV station. Are we going to stand by and let this happen? What do you think our elected officials need to do about it? In the studio, we have Council Member Gabe Johnson of Lanai, who has won the election with no opposition. Gabe, welcome.
Hey, aloha everyone. Can you guys hear me loud and clear?
Yes, we can hear you loud and clear. How are you doing? How's everything in Lanai?
Oh, it's country. It's just the way we like it.
Oh, okay. Well, at least you can Zoom, right? So it's working. So Gabe, one of the things we'd like to ask you is about what's happening with Akakū right now. How important is the local media to Maui County?
Oh, it's so important. And just giving a shout out to your previous speakers with Axel Beers and working on getting the Maui News. I mean, we presently are like in a news desert. It's really important that we have local media talking about local issues. You know, in times of crisis, we often say that information is comfort food. And boy, I tell you, we've been through some really rough times in the past few years. People want to know the updates of what's going on in Lahaina. They want to hear the updates of what's going on in their community. So having that local news is really important. I think it's a great way to keep your community informed. And Akakū does such a great job. I mean, here we are today, you know, getting live updated results of our election. Where would we be doing this if you guys weren't here? So thank you for doing what you guys do, and full support of you guys. Keep on going.
Thank you about that, Gabe. I also wanted to ask you about, you know, being that I'm from Lahaina, and I'm sure, and you are the chair of Public Transportation Committee. You know that at 7 o'clock in the morning, trying to get to work to Lahaina, you know, if you start at 8 o'clock, you might as well leave Central Maui at 6:30. Coming home, it's very unpredictable. Is there any plan at all? Is this helping the people of County of Maui, actually, because a lot of people who works to Lahaina is affected by all of this. And, you know, it's been happening, or it's very unpredictable. So, you know, what do you see is happening in the budget, and how can you help the people of County of Maui who works in Lahaina?
Yeah, that's a really good point. You know, one thing I'll bring up, Rick, is that, you know, we have increased the fare, increased the budget for the bus riding, and we've, you know, eliminated fares for students and people who work for the county. We're trying to make people want to ride the bus. It gets one road off the or one car off the road. And not only that, it's very expensive to pay for your car, pay for your insurance, pay for the gas. So we want to encourage people to ride the buses, make the traffic a lot lighter, going back and forth. I'm a big supporter of more county buses running longer routes and shorter wait times. It's really important. You know, you probably see the electric buses the county's doing now. There's that side. You guys want to talk about the infrastructure side for roads? Yes, of course. It's always tricky to work on roads and new roads, and specifically because of all the funding and where it comes from. You got to work with the feds. You got to work with the state. County, we repair roads and we take care of our roads and we take over roads. If we're creating new roads, it's a big lift, okay? But that being said, I think working with our other partners, the feds, state, and county, if we all work together, we can help create new roads. But in the meantime, the buses are a great way to get around this island.
I agree with you on the bus here. As a former business owner, one of the challenges I had before was the people that works at night. I don't know exactly how long the bus runs in the evening, but at that time it runs all the way up till 8:30 in the evening. Mm-hmm. As you know, most people get off work, their shift is like from 1 to 9, 2 to 10, or 3 to 11. In that case, they can come to work to Lahaina, but they don't have a way to go home if it ends at 8:30. Is there a plan maybe to extending that to maybe around 12 o'clock so people actually will have a way to return home?
I love the suggestion, Rick. You know, the service industry doesn't sleep, as they say, right? We got folks working in the restaurant industry till late at night and the hotels till late at night. I totally get that. I would be willing to work with the mayor and the administration on how we extend the longer service hours. It's really important because not everybody's a 9 to 5, especially if we look at the economy that runs our island, which is tourism. So it goes till late in the night. I totally support that.
All right, Gabe. Well, thank you so much for that. I mean, I'll be following up on that as well because we do need that longer route to coming to Lahaina. Appreciate it. Enjoy your time in Lanai.
Of course. Thank you all for having me. Aloha, and congratulations to all those hard-fought votes, everybody.
All right. Congratulations. You don't have to run for primary. All right. Thanks, Gabe.
Have a good one, aloha.
Now we will head out to Lahaina with Shivo and Elle Cochran, the District 14 State House representative.
Chivo Ching Johnson here at the Waiʻola Church, or where Waiʻola Church once stood. And I am with Elle Cochran, who is a Republican, and she is running for re-election for the State House District 14. Good morning, Elle. How are you?
You know, it's a very emotional day, being August 8th.
Yeah. Yes, it is. So I wanted to ask you, Elle, you recently switched parties, and some people don't quite understand that. Quickly, could you tell me, are you still the same Elle that you've always been?
Yes, I am. Yeah, and I still the person who fights the good fight on behalf of the people and my constituents, the community, our culture, our environment, anything that's, that is worthwhile fighting for. And West Maui, Maui as a whole, Maui Nui has been my home, always will be. And I'm not going anywhere, and I'm here to make sure that what we leave behind is something, worthwhile for the future generations and to come. So yes, I am still that Elle that most people who are in the voting scene and political world have followed me on from when I was a council member. I am still that person. And
thank you so much. So, if re-elected, how will things change for you, Elle, at the State House?
So, well, for starters, now that I'm in a different party, which is, considered the minority caucus, we can bring out the voice, I feel, of people that are struggling, that are living the challenges, and when I was with the majority caucus, the Democratic Party, it was basically their way or the highway. And when you did want to speak out and bring in a different perspective to the table, it was really frowned upon. Literally, it was not a comfortable, safe feeling to speak, share my piece and that of my constituents. I just sort of had to go along, and I couldn't be stifled. It was hard for me to sit there to bite my tongue and be stifled in I felt was needed to be brought out and spoken about.
You have a busy group of people all vying for that same seat, and we wish you the best.
And I thank you. Thank you for those well wishes. And thank you to the voters who will continue to support me, because I am here and I have their back, as I've always said I would be. So thank you.
Aloha.
A couple of weeks ago, Maui Economic Opportunity put on quite a show. The annual Kupuna Aloha Luncheon. Akakū was there. Take a look.
So we're here to celebrate the 54th annual Aloha Kupuna Luncheon. It started as part of the grassroots operation of our Kupuna clubs, and it's really a way to bring the seniors together to share stories and fellowship, but also to learn about legislators and who's running for office. And that was sort of the origin of it, was really to provide an opportunity for people who are running for office to connect with Kupuna and talk about issues that are important to them. And so they're the vendors that come and buy advertising tables are politicians that help support offset the cost, but at the same time they're giving a lot of information so Kupuna can see, like, oh, you're so and so, and a lot of them don't have social media accounts, and news is a little different than it was back in their early days. So it's probably harder for them to get information. So this is one opportunity to do that. We were very honored to have Governor Josh Green join us. It's first time he's been able to join us for a while, so it was very nice to have him here in person. Very big supporter of the Kupuna and then also of MEO.
This year, more than any, even in the past, is a year where my family's wrestled with our father's Alzheimer's disease. And so I've always, as a physician, been so aware of our needs here. It's a little bit more personal for my family this year, and I, as governor, want to do extra work to help people with any of their needs, but especially as they get older. So I love seeing many people here on Maui, and we together will work on these issues.
Then we had U.S. Representative Joe Tokuda that was speaking. We also have Mayor Richard Bissen. We had Council Vice Chair Yuki Lei Sugimura. And then, we honored 2 Kupuna advocates, which we started I think when I became CEO, we started recognizing an advocate during this luncheon to really honor the kupuna. And so this year it's U.S. Senator Brian Schatz and Carolyn Mossman, who's retired from the HSTA. We have about 540 people attending today's luncheon, and 95% of them are the kupuna. And we have people from Hana joining us. Our drivers bring them in. We're hoping today that people take away a little more clarity about what the issues are and what's important to them, and then who represents that, and then that will help guide their vote. What do I see MEO's future? I'm extremely excited. We have brought in a young leadership team. You know, our leadership team is mature, and so many of us are ready to retire. So we've really worked on a succession plan. We're bringing in Maggie Batangan, taking in as CEO. But you can see a trend. I was telling the kupuna the other day, they were all on this side and I was on this side. I said, well, you can see the young from the old. So we're transitioning to a younger generation. I'm, of course, much more tech savvy. So things that, you know, took us a long time to do, they can get it done pretty quick. But they all have the heart and the passion. So
that luncheon looked great. Now that I'm a kupuna, I appreciate it. Anyway, we are going to go back out to Lahaina with Chivo, who was interviewing P. Denise La Costa, one of the candidates for mayor of Maui County.
And before we get into a question, I would like to ask you, how are you doing being a Lahaina resident?
Thank you for that, Chivo. It's pretty difficult. Go by the memorials and it hurts my heart. And on this auspicious day, I would just like to send my aloha to everyone out there who has been affected, which is everyone. Those of us who lost friend and loved one and homes and all that we have ever known. So I send my aloha, and I'm here with you with that because I am a resident of Lahaina.
Thank you for that, P. Denise. You are running for mayor, and there are a number of people in that race. You are up against two strong candidates. What separates you from them?
Thank you for that question. So what separates me mainly is my background in business. I have a degree in business, a minor in finance. I have run large companies. I know how to deal with personnel, with budgets, with collaborating, and with negotiating. And the other candidates don't have a business background as I have. It's incredibly important when you have a company, which the county is, of 2,700 employees and $1.6 billion in a budget. So I know how to operate, and if I don't know something, I will surround myself with people who are smarter than I so we can get the job done the best we can.
So you have said that there are a number of issues. In fact, you have described it as being you need to fix what's broken. And you've also stated that you were going to put Maui's families first. So how are you going to accomplish both of those, just out of curiosity?
Thank you. So Maui's families first, they should always come first. What I will do is I will keep the short-term vacation rentals with the collaboration of the new council. We will repeal Bill 9, and we will use that money for my Homes Together plan, which will provide down payment assistance for first-time home buyers and rental assistance for folks who have an issue with a little bit of a gap where they need to pay more, but they don't have it. And that way we can get families into homes and families more stable. The new council, I'm sure, will be really easy to work with. As I mentioned before, I'm really good at collaboration. So we need to move forward with our business core district in Lahaina. If we don't have a business district, we have no economic, we have no money, we have no way to pay rent or cars or feed our families.
Thank you so much for being here today and for answering our questions.
My pleasure. And remember the cost cutter, P. Denise La Costa. Mahalo.
Thank you so much.
Maui has had more than its share of natural disasters. Not just for fires, Maui also County has had devastating Kona low floods. He's what looking like the friendly Isles of Molokai.
Hi, aloha. I'm Nani Kahinu, living here in Kalamu'ula, Molokai. So the rain and the flooding was the worst we've ever had. It really just dumped so much rain that the island couldn't hold it. If we had just one kona low, great. But that second one was it. Everything else outside was flooded. It happened so quickly, and the waters it was raging already, and it was so dangerous. Cars, everything is underwater, appliances. We just wanted to save our home from being flooded. So many others didn't have that. So many others have lost so much. This flooding incident, we feel, could be a bit more managed well if the culverts were clear. It would give us more time to react. We've been giving the same feedback to different organizations on managing 7 culverts prior to our property that are not managed. We would like to see the 7 culverts before the property be managed, have a clear pathway to the ocean. The fact that we're 1 mile away from the third river that overflows is kind of huge. Our culvert should be managed for Kalamula Mauka, and that should be clear for that. Definitely having the culverts cleared out, I think, would alleviate it for the next one. Not 15 feet from the road to the ocean. Cut the bush. We've been in touch with a lot of organizations. They kind of toss around the responsibility on who is this, and now it's the last one I heard, it's private landowners. So if the property is owned by a private landowner, they're responsible for making sure the culvert is clear to the ocean. So kind of not believable. I'd like to see that remedied, I think, and I'm hoping that this brings awareness to get it remedied for the best of everybody.
I do know that there's a lot of repairs that still needs to be taken care of. For example, at the bottom of the road, there's still a sinkhole. Nothing has been done about it. It's barricaded, but it's still a safety hazard.
They need to repair our roads, because why is it taking so long to have our alternative route fixed right by the fire station? They need to redo all our infrastructure, the sewer lines.
The way people have come together is just amazing. So much love and support have come in. People have donated to us without even asking, and it's so humbling. We've all banded together really to help one another. We're okay. We suffered losses, but so many people have lost so much. I just really thank our community with simple things like offering to wash people's clothes. That's huge. I'm really thankful for our community for opening up their hearts, their homes, and their wallets. You don't know until you're impacted. And we're thankful. We're super grateful, thankful for everybody banding together, and we're super grateful for being able to have a home to be standing, have a bed to sleep in. So many we know that couldn't sleep in their own beds, only have their clothes, and then they go back and there's nothing left. So we're really grateful for that. And we thank God for that, for sure.
Welcome back. One of the things Maui is known for is its outstanding nonprofit leaders. I'm sitting here with one of the best, Jeeyun Lee, the CEO of Maui United Way. She goes by the motto, create the world you want to see. Maui United Way has been central to the fire and recovery. Jeeyun, in these challenging times, how is the Maui United Way realizing its vision?
Thank you so much for having me, Rick. I'm really grateful for this opportunity to just share out all the different things that Maui United Way has been able to steward for our community at large. Maui United Way is an independent nonprofit specific for Maui Nui, for Maui, Molokai, and Lanai, and all of the funds that have been brought in get stewarded to go back out into community, specifically to our core nonprofit organizations, grassroots organizations, to align the work and the efforts that we're doing throughout the county. Particularly after the fires of 2023, we have since then supported over 75,000 individuals who've been impacted by the fires and pushed out over $21 million of support throughout the community to continue to support our nonprofit sector and actually support individuals and really align our work with the government and other entities within the public and private sectors.
Thank you for that. What's the biggest needs right now for the community, and how can the community help? Because I understand that, Maui United Way was receiving a lot of assistance from the Century Open. not having that last year, and then of course this year, and fortunately Mr. Yanai was able to help out. So what else can we do to help with Maui United Way?
Well, the Century continues to provide us with funding to support our Malamana Keiki initiative for the youth and those who provide support for our youth, our makua and our grandparents, as well as the providers that we have, because we know that the providers within our communities, we have a limited number of them, so we really have to malama them to ensure that they are happy and healthy and able to continue to support our youth. Mr. Yanai has been absolutely wonderful to support the work that we're doing, but overall, what the community can do and what we've been seeing from community, we just did a strategic plan, and in this next year, we're really seeing, just like across the state, through our 211 data and everything else, housing and mental health supportive services and food security continue to be really high on our list, especially as our surge funding comes to an end. So Maui United Way's goal is really to be the bridge to ensure that the funding that we're putting out into community doesn't just kind of go through the community, but really sticks and creates the most impact possible. So we're really focused on gathering the data from a community's standpoint, community-led and community-guided data, and then utilizing that data to really ensure that the work that we're doing has the most impact for those in need.
Thank you so much for that. For the community, if you really want to help Maui United Way, you could always go to the website.
Absolutely.
I know I went to the website and you could just easily make a donation. So thank you for joining us and helping our community, especially in this time of needs. And with everything that's going on, cost of living continues to rise, and I know that Maui United Way is out there helping everybody on Maui. So again, thank you. Thank you for joining us.
It's my pleasure, and we do also have our first annual fundraiser coming up at Old Lahaina Luau on our side of the island, Rick.
December 5th.
It'll be December 5th. Oh, yes. You did your research, yes. So we'd love to have anybody in the community come and join that as well. We're really looking to create the fund to support community.
It's such a wonderful thing that Old Lahaina Luau does, because they also help with the Lahaina Restoration Foundation.
Absolutely.
And so,
they're
shout out
so
to those
generous.
guys at the Old Lahaina Luau.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
I'll be seeing you in Lahaina.
That sounds great. Sounds good. You too.
Yeah,
Take care.
Take care. Aloha.
Aloha.
If you're just joining us, you're watching Akakū's 2026 Maui Nui primary election coverage.
Now, before we go to break, we'll take a look at the Lahaina homecoming event that took place in mid-July. It brought back Lahaina residents who had moved to the mainland after being displaced by the wildfires. After the break, we'll be right back with more election coverage.
Today we're here at the beautiful Lahaina United Methodist Church, where we come every third Saturday for Pa'upili, our Lahaina Third Saturday events. Our Maui Economic Recovery team really wanted to come back to the town. In these weekly meetings we have with our team, one of our members, Miss Courtney Lazo, had spoken up, and she said, well, my mom married a guy from a small town in Texas, and every year he goes home to see his family and friends for this homecoming event. And we're all on the Zoom like stuck, right? We're like, what? What do you mean? We need a homecoming event too. It was like, how do you draw back the people after a mass exodus who are continuing to leave because of all the different reasons, or like, how do you bring people home? We had the Office of Recovery and the Office of Economic Development on our calls, and they were like, we can do this financially to get you guys off the ground. And so we just dreamed big, and it ended up turning into a 3-day event, which, is pretty big for our first one. And we're calling it the Lahaina Homecoming. When we did the contest, we were like, oh, we just want to bring people home for the event. But I think we didn't really think about the mental and spiritual part of it, right? It's so symbolic in this method, right? That we're bringing them home and say, you can come home. You're coming home. We are bringing people home. And I think that in itself was so huge for our community.
It's not going to be overnight. It's not even going to be in a few years. But in the process, events like the Lahaina Homecoming that really, really allows families who are even afraid to come back, to be surrounded with energy and love and stories from others who've been through the same thing.
I would like to say on behalf of Mana Maoli, which I've been a part of for 20 plus years, I'm proud to represent this organization and be a part of it, and we're so glad to be a part of this community event because everything's been leading to something like this, okay? Everything that we've done over the years is leading to things like this that can happen and will happen because we will it to happen. And so the love that we're showing each other right now tonight, right? The love that we're showing each other, that we're showing this place, these people, our ohana. Next week, when you walk in Foodland, no walk that. Show the same love. Keep the smile on the face. Even if you don't know the person, if you don't recognize them or what it is, just keep this feeling going because we need this. Yes. Okay? Mahalo.
Mahalo.
Yes.
The space may be open with no buildings, but when you take that walk, I promise that whole feeling is just special.
If you're from Lahaina, raised in Lahaina, worked in Lahaina, or just love Lahaina, these events are for you.
We're gonna keep on moving. Keep on moving. The vibes are vibing. Vibes are vibing. Say
Thank you guys.
Let's go, Lahaina!
Lahaina!
Akakū's 2026 Maui Nui elections broadcast is generously supported by our title sponsors, Mahi Pono, provider of high-quality Maui-grown food, and West Maui Taxpayers Association, advocating for and making a difference in West Maui, and mahalo to our business, nonprofit, and individual sponsors, and to our local food donors. Welcome back to Akakū's 2026 primary election coverage.
Welcome back to the 2026 Maui Nui primary election coverage right here on Akakū. We will head back to Lahaina where Chivo Ching Johnson spoke earlier in the day with Mayor Richard Bissen about the very somber third anniversary of the Maui wildfires.
This is an opportunity for us to bring our Lahaina community together. Our most important thing we want to achieve is that people are not feeling like they have to be alone on a day like today. So they're offered all sorts of activities. Of course, there's music, there's food, free food for folks to come. We have so many sponsors and donors. We have activities for children, for adults. You can paint an ulu leaf. You can make a commemorative t-shirt. You can put on memories that you have, remembrance memories. You can have messaging that you want. Lots of activities that are being offered for our folks here. There are going to be luminaries that you can also draw on and put a message on. Again, for just a day of remembrance for today. We have some lomi lomi going on for folks who want that. And again, the most important thing is we're seeing people be together in a place where they have friendship, companionship, relationships.
Yes. And I know that just from observing in there, this is a no media event, but as a community member, we were walking around and I noticed that there were so many deep conversations going, and there were some that looked very pained, and you do not get over an event like this easily. And I think this is really a healthy community gathering.
That's precisely what it is. It's healthy. It's to promote relationship, promote companionship, as I said earlier, having a place for people to gather who choose to gather. Now, other folks who've moved back into their homes may be having similar gatherings with their families at their private residence. There may be people who are at the beach, people who are doing things that they normally would do on a Saturday afternoon. But again, for those folks who need a place to come to, they don't have to be alone.
Yeah, that is really, really a beautiful thing. This morning we also, over where Waiʻola Church was, a bell ringing ceremony. They rang it 102 times for all of the people that we know were lost in the fires. And that was a pretty touching event as well.
Yeah, there was a similar event last night at the site with pastors from different Lahaina churches. We were really grateful to be invited to join them and to place lei and to hear scripture and to hear messages, and again to hear all 102 names remembered and read, some of them by their family members who were present. Also not a media event, but what's become a tradition for the churches to do it on the night before August 8th, so obviously the 7th. And again, that was also an expression of remembrance and an expression of paying honor to all 102 souls.
So we're back here in the studio, and we're going to have the second printout results of the elections. Rick, you take it away.
Okay, at the U.S. House District 2. Second reading, we have Edward Cordelia at 994 votes, and Randall Terry is at 641 votes. For the U.S. House District 1, Ed Case at 58,853, and Jared Keuho Kalole at 35,371. And the U.S. District 2, we spoke earlier with Congresswoman Jill Tokuda at 80,133, and next one would have been Stephen King at 3,434. And then the U.S. House District 1, we have Jordan Conley at 368 votes. And the District 1, U.S. House District 1 Republican, we have Adriel Lum at 16,079. And the U.S. House District 2, we have Brenton Ava at 21,382.
Wow. And for the governor's race, we have votes coming up here. Josh Green has a huge lead, no surprise there, with 83% of the vote. He's got 164,000 of them. In the Republican race, Gary Cordery, he's got 65% of the vote, but he's certainly going to have an uphill battle in the general election. 164,000 for Josh Green compared to 30,090 for the Republican candidate. Also, for lieutenant governor, we have, on the Republican side, we have Daniel Anthony. He's leading with 30.4% of the vote. But he's going to also have an uphill battle against the Democratic candidates. Derek Kawakami, who's now currently the mayor of Kauai, is leading with 63.4% of the vote with 126,000 votes. So again, that's also going to be an uphill battle for the Republican in the general election.
All right, and then of course for the state senator, the District 5 Democrat, Troy Hashimoto, is actually doesn't have any anyone running against him. He does have 83% of the votes, 6,430. Likewise, at District 9 with Justin Woodson, no one is running against him, so he's in. He will be serving again in the Senate, in the state, Currently, he's 81% of the vote. And then in the State House, District 10, the Republican candidate, Travis Bumanglag, is at 696 is his vote. And for the Democrats, we got incumbent Tyson Miyake at 3,107, and Ki Kauanoe at 901 votes. Moving to the District 11, which is in Kihei, the Democrat candidate is Therese Amaro at 2,245, and the Republican candidate for District 11, Sheila Walker, at 726 votes. Upcountry, District 12, the Republican candidate, Dan Johnson, he is at 670 votes. District 12, also Democrat candidate, Kyle Yamashita, is at 2,466 votes. And then for the State House, District 13, Mahina Poipoi at 2,253. And the Republican candidate, Robin Vanderpool, at 452 votes. This is the close race right here, a big house with the State House in Lahaina, District 14. Snip Patel is about 63 votes. He is at 752. Ashley Olson at 685. And Kanamu Balinbin at 577 votes. These are your Democratic candidates. Your Republican candidate is Elle Cochran, which is, she's got 554 votes. And the Green Party is Paʻele, Kiakona at 126.
And in the mayor's race for Maui County, in a close race, Richard Bissen is currently leading at 45.9% of the vote. And his challenger, Yuki Lei Sugimura, she is at 34.7%. So Mayor Bissen right now has about a 3,000 vote lead after the second printout. Denise La Costa, she is in a distant third with almost 11% of the vote. And then the other 7 candidates that are running have no more than 2%. Also, in the county council race for the Wailuku, Waiahi, and Waikapu, Marvin Moniz, the former director of the airports, he's in the lead with 34%, followed by Ashley Awake Lindsay and James Forrest. That's also right now about a 2-to-1 lead for Marvin Moniz. But in this race, the top 2 candidates will move on to the general election.
Correct. And then, of course, in the county council in Kahului, we have Kauanoe Batangan at 10,958 votes, which is 42%. And Carol Lee Kamekona at 8,422 votes. Upcountry, we have Bobby Pahia at 10,417 votes, which is 40%. And second place is John Yukuochi at 5,015 votes, which is 19% of the votes.
Wow, so some close races and some not so close races. Yep. Now we're going to go back to Chivo in Lahaina. Earlier in the day, he spoke with Paʻele Kiakona, the Green Party candidate who is trying to unseat Elle Cochran for the District 14 State House seat.
Elle Kiakona, a Green Party candidate for State House District 14. Paʻele, how are you going to, if elected, take your Green Party candidacy with unprecedented number of endorsements and use that to make an impact at the legislature?
Yeah, mahalo. First and foremost, just super grateful and mahalo to everybody who has shown up to support and endorse myself with this campaign. Similarly to like what we did after the fire, when we marched alongside Local 5 and ILWU with thousands of people, demanding long-term dignified housing for our people, I plan to do things very similar, depending on what is the issues that our community is dealing with, and utilizing the workforce and that large number of people within the union to influence that change. Because there is a lot of corporate interest, there is a lot of money backing things that don't necessarily align with our community. The only real way that we can inspire that change within our community is we have to show up in mass, critical mass, and that's the plan. We work together on whatever issues our community needs addressed.
And many hands make light work.
That's the saying is "A'ohe hana nui ke alu'ia."
So, with all of the issues facing us right now, how do you plan to prioritize some of these things?
Yeah, well, personally, my priority is first and foremost community, and secondary to that is our aina. When we look at a lot of the issues we deal with every single day, we don't necessarily realize that a lot of those things are affected by the aina and its health, and all of the things that we're experiencing, the fire, the floods, all of those were in part of that. So addressing those short-term issues within our people, what are their needs as I'm door knocking, asking them what their issues are, addressing that, but also looking at those systemic issues that led to a lot of the things that we're experiencing now. And that will determine the priority for myself.
Yeah, and you have mentioned a number of initiatives like volunteerism and all of those things can be used to help us fix a lot of the natural problems that our aina is facing right now, and that really does need to be worked on immediately.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. At the end of the day, this is what's going to determine the fate of our community, is the health of our aina.
But the real battle in today's primary is among the 3 Democrats running for the District 14 seat. Only one of them will advance to the general election against Paʻele Kiakona and Elle Cochran, a long-term Democrat who is now running on the Republican ticket. We go back to Lahaina with Chivo Ching Johnson.
Kanamu Balinbin, who is a Democrat running for the rather busy State House District 14 seat. Good afternoon, Kanamu. Tell me, you're up against a couple of well-known and strong Democratic candidates. What makes you different?
Well, Chivo, I believe that being the only lifelong Lahaina resident, Maui resident here in this race makes a difference. I believe that my background and my genealogy with being coming from the line of Pi'ilani and that era of taking care of our community. I've shown it during our S-Turns Community Hub, where we've been taking care of our community since day one after the fire. We've been going strong for 3 years. We do deliveries 5 days a week. We're open 3 days a week with produce, meats, vegetable, milk, eggs, and breads. You name it, we have it. We also do provide medical services for our kupuna. We drive and take them to appointments. We do hands-on work here at the community for the past 3 years. And I think that it's shown a difference with helping our community with their food insecurities.
That is a very, very cool thing that you've been doing. If elected, how do you plan to make an impact on the state legislature as a new representative for District 14?
Well, I have learned that through this process of working with S-Turns, I couldn't do everything by myself. So we have a good team that we put in place at our S-Turns Community Distribution Hub. So I felt that if we win this House of Representatives race, I would need a strong team as well, and we put that strong team into place. We have, I have Chris Salem, who is a big-time advocate for West Maui and the island of Maui. I have Louis Hokoana, who will help with our education legislation. He's the current chancellor at UHMC, and I have a former fire captain named Paul Ha'ake, who was head of the fire prevention unit here on Maui for the past 15 years since he retired. So, we want to get the bases covered: housing, infrastructure. We have a great team, and it's been said by other legislators and other Senate members, to have a good office, you need a strong team. So that's what we're going to put together. Thank you very much.
With Ashley Olson, a Democratic candidate for State House District 14. Ashley, you have said that you would like to lower the cost of living, among other things, if elected. How are you going to do that?
At the state level, we can do things with taxes, and everybody pays taxes, including our visitors. We pay a GET, and that's a point of sale tax where again, everybody pays the same percentage, but if you're not making a lot of money, it's a larger portion of your income. So what we can do is on the back end, lower some of the income taxes for our middle and lower income families. We can do that at the state level. At the state level, we can also work with our federal delegation to see if we can't carve out some exemptions for the Jones Act, which increases shipping costs to the state of Hawaii.
Yeah, and that has been an issue for a long, long time. So if elected, how, as a new representative to the State House, how are you going to make an impact on the legislature?
Well, one of the first steps is to go around and get to know everybody, because as a newbie, you may or may not have friends, and you need to figure out who you can caucus with and who you can work with whom you have common cause. I feel very confident that I can work with the other elected representatives from Maui County, and I know that we have other friends across the state that have similar issues as Maui. And so one of the first things is to go and figure out where we can make common cause to make changes together. Democrats are the majority party, but that doesn't mean that we always agree. So that's going to be really critical. The other thing is to dive in and start reading all of those exciting bills that have passed and those which haven't, in order to make modifications to try and make things work better for the people of Maui and the people of Hawaii.
Naie Patel. Naie is a Democratic candidate for State House District 14. How are you feeling today, Naie?
Well, thanks, Shivo. It's definitely, a hard day for many of us here in West Maui. Obviously, it's the primary day, but as we know, today is the third anniversary of one of the darkest days in our state's history, as well as, one of the worst disasters in the nation's history. So there's a lot of reflection going on today, and I'm hopeful, though. There's a lot that's been done, and there's a lot still yet to be done, especially within Lahaina and the recovery and the commercial areas. So,
as far as your candidacy is concerned, a lot of people at the Capitol, and you have also mentioned a number of issues that you would like to work on. If elected, how will you take those issues and your relationships and make an impact at the Capitol?
Yeah, no, I think that's one of the positive things is that I do have working relationships with many of the state legislators based on the work that I've been doing, and I won't be starting from zero. We'll be able to work with them collaboratively, but also cultivate new relationships as people start to understand who I am as a person. For me, I'm going to educate myself on the bills, making sure I'm present, I show up, and do the work. And I think that's going to earn the respect of those that don't know me, and hopefully work on some of these larger issues that transcend all of our counties: affordability, infrastructure, fire safety, as well as education. And so I'm hopeful that the relationships I have, plus the new ones that I'll be able to gain, are going to be a positive thing for me.
As we all know, affordability and the cost of living is a big issue all over the national this election season. It is especially challenging in Maui Nui's most rural areas like Molokai. Let's take a look.
Hawaii is feeling the economic squeeze. Isolated in the middle of the Pacific, we have become accustomed to the shipping of modern goods and food from outside the island for our daily needs. Hawaii has a significant reliance on imported goods, particularly food. The state imports approximately 85 to 90% of its food supply. This heavy dependence on imports makes Hawaii vulnerable to disruptions in the supply chain. Within the state, the small rural island of Molokai is like the proverbial canary in the coal mine, where the cost of fuel and everyday products are not only scarce, but significantly higher than the rest of the state. Molokai's economy is less developed compared to the rest of Hawaii. The island's average incomes are well below the statewide figures, with a high unemployment rate. Today, the island of Molokai is bracing for much tougher economic impacts on an island already strained. 2026 started with shipping rates going up almost 30%, with an additional 3% hike just this past July. A new state law will also allow an additional 5% shipping hike annually.
Aloha kako, o Keniko Inoa. I'm the co-owner along with my wife of Native Built. Everything we have for the store, we have to bring in. Even if I'm printing my own, the things that we print on our own, we have to order product, we have to order the blanks. Shipping costs hurt because with that increase in shipping costs, we have to increase our retail side. So it affects everyone. We have to raise our prices. That affects, our consumers. And then of course, as consumers ourselves, you'll see it. I talked to many people, especially in the past month, who has said that their electric bill has doubled, at least doubled. It reflects in the grocery stores. Our groceries got a little more expensive. Our gas is a lot more expensive. And of course, to a certain degree, we're used to that and we kind of expect that. This is the price of paradise. And I wouldn't go anywhere else in the world, but it does hurt small businesses. It does hurt the community. It does hurt our economy.
My name is Catherine Aki. It's obvious that if the shipping rates are increasing, that the prices in the grocery stores are going to increase too.
Hi, I'm Mark Aquino and I'm a fruit vendor. I try to work with the small backyard gardeners and also homesteaders and farmers on Molokai. It affects me because, many of these farmers raise their rates because of, their farming equipment, and these farmers need gas for their machines. Their costs pass through me and in turn to the public at large.
As a senior on a fixed income, we need to look at what can we do without, and also other ways, because there used to be like a restaurant that used to have its own boat, and they used to go to Maui, go to Costco, they used to fill up all the stuff they needed on their boat, and then they brought it back for their restaurant. So I think maybe, we might have to do a little bit more private shipping, just like how we do more private transportation to Maui. So that's a consideration.
The community of Molokai is resilient, but with almost assured hard economic times ahead, we look for sustainable solutions to the rising cost of living on the island we love and call home.
Welcome back to the studio, where we have one of the best people to talk about the economy of Maui County, Pamela Tumpap, president of the Maui Chamber of Commerce. So nice to have you here with us, Pam.
Oh, thank you. So great to be here with you tonight. What an important evening.
Oh, for sure. I mean, it's always fun on election night. Obviously, in Lahaina, there's been, an emphasis on rebuilding the residences, but now they're starting to put more emphasis into rebuilding Front Street and the commercial district. How important is that to Lahaina and Maui as a whole?
It's really critically important. Lahaina was our crown jewel. And one of the funny things that people didn't realize, West Maui Taxpayers Association long talked about the importance of Lahaina and the revenue it generated, not just for Maui County, but statewide. And of course, when we lost Lahaina, we lost so much. We're seeing some small recovery in the harbor. So we're working with DOBOR at the state level to rebuild the harbor. But it's been slow. It's been very slow. And many of the other businesses who were on Front Street said, the harbor brought in so much traffic for us that as the harbor's rebuilding slow, it's making us wait a little bit longer. And the rebuilding's been very slow for the business side. It's happening, though. We're seeing some improvement. There's been some recent announcements about what the Native Council is going to do in Lahaina with 17 temporary stores and some activity, which is great. We need all activity. But we're at a time, and I'm on the Maui Economic Recovery Commission, as are many others. I do sit on the harbor group. And we're going to need to just keep working with the state and moving that dime forward, because without the economic and business recovery, we're not having the job recovery. It's a huge economic loss that really isn't been calculated.
Right.
And so that slow recovery is really hampering a lot of other things. And people want to get back to work, right? They're looking for their incomes. As they're trying to rebuild their homes, right? They need those other incomes to continue to move forward. The recovery monies, for rebuilding has been slow to come out with the lawsuit settlement delayed. But the faster we move forward with business recovery and the economic recovery, the more we'll see that economic engine turn again and be another crown jewel for not only Maui County, but the state.
You had talked about how, small business recovery also needs housing. I mean, obviously
Yes.
housing is a crisis, and people don't think, oh, housing and the economy go together in terms of businesses, but they really do.
So at the Chamber of Commerce, and people have heard me say this now for years, people think of the Chamber as a business organization, which we most certainly are. But it's been the economy and housing, and it's 1A and 1B at any given moment of my day. We are dealing with this all of the time. If we don't have housing for our workers, they can't stay. We're losing families. We need security. And of course, we are now seeing in this June, the median home price for housing for a single family home was over 1.3 million, almost 1.36, which is something we projected in the housing forum back in 2017 and in 2019. We've made housing a priority. And it's critical for our island development, but it's most importantly, it's critical for our families and to keep them here and for future generations to want to stay here. And that affects economic development. Right. If we don't have places for people to live and work, then how are we going to diversify our economy, expand to new industries, and have the workers that our businesses need to sustain their operations as well? So every business person is very concerned about housing. Right. And we want to keep our families here.
And speaking of diversifying the economy, I was just up to see the supercomputer that is now up at the U.S. Air Force in Kihei and the whole tech district that's up there. They're actually trying to build some housing for their own workforce up there.
Absolutely.
Which
and
they
we want to see that as well, absolutely.
Exactly. But those are some higher paying jobs. I mean, how much is that important to bring in higher paying jobs and companies that can support, these kinds of rents and salaries on Maui?
It's absolutely essential. It's absolutely essential, and I worked at Maui Economic Development Board in the 80s and the 90s. I was part of promoting high-tech Maui and high-tech Hawaii. And sadly, we have one of the worst business-friendly environments nationwide, the state of Hawaii does, and sometimes we move up from last to second to last, which means somebody else generally screwed up. But we have to improve our business-friendly environment, especially if we're going to try and attract high-tech. Senator Inouye brought us that supercomputer. It was a crown jewel. It was meant to make us a leader in the Pacific Rim. And without some of the continued investment, Hong Kong and Singapore were doing things that we were working on decades ago and to get those high-paying jobs. I was involved in programs to promote graphic design, architecture, and engineering innovations back then, which are great leading jobs and would have helped us greatly in times like the wildfire for replanning. But we lost sight of that, and we made some investments in high tech, and the state didn't see that sustaining us because those companies, as they grew, went to other states that would pay more money to attract them, but also had a more business-friendly environment and more workforce development programs and other things. So with these tremendous opportunities, and with AI, so many amazing things are possible, and we're working on how we help small businesses and medium and large businesses incorporate AI, not to lessen their workforce.
Not to take away our jobs.
Not to take away jobs, but to save time so we can be more productive in other areas, to keep up with new technologies and advance in new ways. And this is coming, whether we want it to or not, it's coming. I'm also a believer as a parent of guardrails. I just want to put that out there. But the technology is changing. I know I'm using it. Others are using it. We're looking to train on it. But so many things are now possible. And that supercomputer on Maui was meant to be a catalyst. And it was great in film and television. There used to be a gentleman named Dr. Robertson who was had a company called Synchromic Studio. And they were doing some of the first fly-throughs and things using that supercomputer. And that was decades ago. So we have tremendous opportunities. But we also, when you talk about attracting high-tech companies, they're going to need housing for their workers, right? And again, we need to look at this generationally. We have to get that housing. We stopped talking about housing and economic development, by the way, and moved into infrastructure. Because without infrastructure, we're not going to have the roads, the water, right, the sewer, the band. You talked about broadband and the important infrastructure there, and telecommunications. If we don't have infrastructure, we're not going to have housing, and we're not going to have economic development. It all ties together.
So true. Well, Pam, thank you very much for coming here.
Thank you. My great pleasure.
Yes, and we all are looking forward to seeing the rebuilding of Front Street and the businesses there.
Absolutely, and across the island. It's time that we to be more resilient, we need some diversity. And of course, we have a great visitor industry. We've leveraged off of for years, created many other industries, and we'll do the same as we explore other economic development arenas and get Lahaina back.
Wonderful. Thank you again, Pam.
My pleasure.
All right.
Aloha.
Aloha.
Thank you, Pam.
Thank you, Rick.
You, Rick.
Up next, we have Lee Kamekona. She's running again for the Kahului seat on the county council. Aloha, Lee.
Aloha, Rick.
How are you doing?
A little nervous, but mai
Why would you be nervous? We've done
mahalo.
this before, right? Thank you for joining us, and thank you for wanting to serve us again. We appreciate it. So,
Mahalo for having me. I appreciate the honor of being here.
Yeah, the return, and of course, the top two will be going on to the general election. I know how tough it is to campaign, but again, as I mentioned earlier, thank you. So, again, there's a lot of issues right now. Everything is about housing. As you could hear, the president of the Chamber of Commerce talking also about the economy.
Mm-hmm.
What is your plan once you get in the office and to helping with the people of County of Maui to be able to afford that housing? And, and of course, I've always said that housing and the economy should be side by side.
Aye, polole. I agree with you, Nick. I would like to, when I first get in, is deal with rent control and rent stabilization, because the prices of rents right now is astronomically way out of reach for our people that have to work 2 and 3 jobs just to put a roof over their head, food on the table, and clothes on their backs. So we need to really malama that part of it. But partnering also is we need to do prevailing wages. Granted, county doesn't have too much control on that, but I would like to partner with our legislators and work on getting our minimum wage up to at least $30 an hour, because I think that'll help our families where they won't have to be constantly working, and then the children are left at home to fend for themselves. And hopefully we can build our economy on that.
Well, the economy, the biggest part of our economy here in the County of Maui is Front Street. And as I've been talking about is that, we talk a lot about the unemployment, but it is the underemployed, and that's the reason why you're saying that the rent is astronomical. People can't afford that, and so that's a good thing to be addressing that issue. What are your plans on rebuilding Front Street to helping the business owners that are still crying out for help there?
We need to bring the people back, because the people is what the aloha is. The aloha is what we are. That's what makes Maui no Kauai. So I would like to both balance bringing the houses back for our people, but also working on trying to get subsidies and incentives for the businesses to help them also come back. I would ask that the mayor please look at pushing them back a little bit and not actually putting them right on Front Street, because then we're going to have to deal with the climate change that we're dealing with now in 5 or 10 years. And that's going to be something that the county's probably going to end up having to pay for. So I would say if we could at least push back Front Street just a little bit, so we don't have to deal with the climate change and the, seawalls and all that kinds of stuff.
But pushing it back would just kind of like delay again the rebuilding of Front Street?
I don't think so, because there are places that Lahaina Land Trust has been working with families. They've been purchasing, aina that families just don't have the monies to build back. If we can just work with them, the parcels they have, and try and see if there's a swap that the county can do with county property to provide, so we can at least maybe move back a little bit. But if we have to use county property to give back to the residents and then use the residents' properties for building back Front Street, why not? And I'd like to see Front Street as a bike and walk, no cars.
Great. Well, continue on working on that, because we do need Front Street to reopen.
Yes.
We need that economy.
Oh, for sure.
That will bring back the people to Maui.
Yes,
Karen,
I agree.
Thank you so much for joining us, and we'll be seeing you around, and I know you're out there campaigning, so good luck.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining
Appreciate
us.
it.
You're
My
very
honor.
welcome. Aloha.
Ahoiho. Malama.
Akakū sent two of its interns to ask people in Lahaina what were some of the issues they are concerned about. Take a look.
In light of the 3-year anniversary of the fires, how do you think recovery has gone?
Being someone who actually works in recovery from day one, I cannot be more grateful to have a community that knows how to serve and really step up. If it wasn't for the efforts of those that actually live and some who survived and went through all of this, I mean, our whole community went through all of this, stepped up and worked in spaces that allowed us to move the process a lot faster in this recovery process.
I never really felt directly affected by, natural disasters until the Kona storms gave our small-scale farm a little beating. And so thankfully, through the state's Department of Ag and Biosecurity, we were able to receive some emergency farm relief funds. And so that helped us a little bit because we did have a lot of damaged crops, and the amount of rain really damaged some of our equipment and part of the structures. So that really helped.
I think recovery efforts have been going great. The houses are pretty big, which is changing our environment of what Lahaina used to be. I mean, it used to all be plantation homes, and now it's little mini mansions. So that's kind of an interesting aspect of it all. But would love to get into the commercial side of rebuilding, getting these businesses and getting the economy kind of back up and running, because that's going to take a second.
To be honest, I don't know. I don't know what rapid regrowth is like. This is the first devastating wildfire I've ever been through. So it's very hard for me to judge or gauge how progress is. I just know that seeing people getting back in their homes, and we've already delivered to a number of homes, I think 74 at this point, it's good. I mean, to me, just being able to see the people here get back in their home and get trees in the ground is very, very important.
Recovery, well, slow but steady, I guess, Of course, everybody wishes it could be faster. I don't know personally what the delay is, because I personally cannot be involved in all the politics, the meetings, because it's too much for me, So I kind of stay on the outskirts and do things like making leis and making flowers to help me heal.
I myself am not a direct survivor of the Lahaina fires. I didn't live on this side. I did work here, but I feel that even though it's very slowly, I think it's going slow because it's kind of more of a grassroots and community movement that is really making the big changes to the recovery. But I feel like because it's being community driven and led, that's what's going to make the foundation of our community, of this island, even stronger.
We are back in the studio and fortunate to have two people with us who have been working hard to help with housing crisis. We have Nara Boone and, of course, now you just lost my train of thought here. I got all my notes here and I lost it. I'm sorry.
We have Autumn Nest here with the Lahaina Community Land Trust.
I am so sorry.
It's okay.
So anyway, thank you for joining us this evening.
Thanks for having us.
Nara,
Yes.
kind of met you a few times when you ran for office. Saw you also out there singing at Olalena, and then you and I were involved with this housing when we went to, I believe, to this event in Kahului.
Yeah.
Yes, a while back. So how is everything going on right now with the work that you guys are doing, helping us with the affordable homes here on Maui?
Well, it's less working with affordable homes. It's more trying to keep people in the homes they're in. So Maui Housing Hui is the organization that I'm with. Yes. We started under a different name at the end of 2022, and then when the fires happened, things really kicked in. And we've been advocating for renters ever since. We hold renters' rights trainings about once a month, and what's really lovely about it is that landlords have started coming to get educated as well as what their rights are, what the tenants' rights are, what they should be doing to be pono landlords. And So there's been a lot. We just educate people on renters' rights in the residential landlord-tenant code. Now, with the fires and all of the emergency proclamations that came with that, we also, on our social media, have really educated people on the changing emergency proclamations and what those kind of allowances or different rules as they apply and as they change. We put that information out. We also work, I work with I don't work in the office, but I am a part of the meetings with the Governor's Office of Wellness and Resilience. Yes. And so I get to speak there often on the challenges that our community as a whole is going through, not just our fire survivors. And they also help spread the word of the different rules that we have going on, especially with the floods that happened and that emergency proclamation that came to be. Knowing who is responsible to pay for flood damage, knowing that tenants are not required to pay for a portion of the house if it's not livable. Like that kind of stuff is really pertinent information. And so we deal a lot with that. People reach out to us on Instagram and Facebook and our email at mauihousinghui.com and mauihousinghui@gmail.com as well. And then, I hear a lot of hard stories about what people are going through.
Yeah, well, with this still issue, of course, we're always going back to the fire in Lahaina.
Yeah.
And when the word FEMA comes up and the rental, these people are so scared about what's going on. I know it's kind of like months just go so fast. And I'm sure, and we appreciate the work that you guys are doing, educating the people, because unfortunately, we do have a lot of landlords out there that are taking advantage of the situation.
Yeah.
So,
absolutely.
Is that still though a big issue right now with landlords? Dealing with all these landlords. Has it gotten much better?
Much better, no.
Just much better.
FEMA's direct lease program really messed up our rental situation. People getting these exorbitant amounts for the rental, and then the neighbor next door is like, wait, they're getting that much? Then I'm going to raise my rent, which technically was illegal to do, by the way, since the day after the fires. But that has continued to happen. We did a survey that stated how many people have been affected and how they've been affected, whether they're landlord or tenant, and the one that just really stuck with me was someone saying, oh, no tenants yet, but it's the easiest $54K we've ever made. So that kind of stuff is really, really frustrating. We do have surveys out. We are partnered. Jade Moreno is our researcher for Maui Housing Hui. And she's been working very closely with Alex Greer, who he just moved, so I want to make sure I get my thing right. He is the head of the Disaster Institute at the University of South Carolina. So they just held a few focus groups here, mainly focusing on renters, because there's absolutely a lot going on, and attention and different programs for homeowners, but what about the renters? And so that was their focus group and the research that's happening, and we have some surveys out as well to see how people are being affected now. I would love to say rents are coming down, but I don't see it.
Well, let's move over to the property owners, and I understand, Autumn, that the Land Trust has been able to close on its 24th property.
Yeah.
Can you talk a little bit about how the program's going and what you see, in the very near future?
Yeah, the last time we talked, I think we had just closed on our first property.
Yes.
Yeah, and so in that 2 years' time, the community, Lahaina community, now owns 24 parcels.
Amazing.
And a lot of those are zoned for more than one home. So we are about to do our second homeowner lottery to select the person that's going to buy our second home. And that's a $350,000 house, 3-bedroom. Wow. Yeah, so the lottery happens on Tuesday, and we're still taking intake. We're going to take intakes for applicants. They can go to lahainacommunitylandtrust.org and fill out the Become a Homeowner form and get invited to lotteries that they qualify in the future. And we're just getting started. Yeah.
So can you explain to the people that don't know what the land trust does, how the process works?
Yeah. So, I mean, the fire really illustrated the point, but even before the fire, the entire community, Lahaina and all of Maui, can speak to the fact that folks are getting pushed out of their communities because we have all accepted at some point in time that land's job is to make money for someone. House's job, home's jobs are to make people wealthy. A community land trust challenges that entire notion. So when the Lahaina Community Land Trust purchases or receives a piece of property, that property is no longer a wealth building mechanism for an individual ever again. The land now belongs to the community. It's never to be bought and sold again. We build a home on top, and then that home can be sold to a homeowner chosen by lottery. Like I said, the second home we're selling is a $356,000 home. You are a homeowner. You can build equity on your home. You have all the benefits of being a homeowner. Your rent can never be raised. You can never be evicted. You are a homeowner. But because you got an affordable home, we ask that if you ever sell it, you pay it forward. So that $356,000 home will only appreciate at 1.5% a year forever. So it means that every piece of land that we rescue now, every home that we build and sell now is going to become a part of this forever protected and affordable housing inventory for Lahaina. So our grandkids are not going to have to do this anymore, And our goal is to protect 20% of Lahaina's homes into this.
What percentage are you at now?
Well, that's a great question. I got to go back and do the math. Last time I did the math, we were like a tenth of the way there, which in 3 years is not that bad. So
it just goes to show the scale of the lost homes and properties.
Yeah, and I just want to be careful to mention that we are building houses and selling houses, but when you take the requirement to build wealth out of land ownership, the possibilities about what we can do in our commercial spaces, imagine a commercial parcel that is owned by an entity whose job is not to build wealth, whose job it is to create community stability and community vai-vai. What's going to happen if we can secure a few commercial properties in Lahaina town and actual local business owners can afford to open up businesses because their rents are affordable? What if the Manapua guy comes back? And what if the crack seed store comes back? And what if we have affordable child care because the landlord is not trying to make their stakeholders wealthy?
And when you say build equity, though, the build equity part is paying down your mortgage. So that's where your equity comes in as opposed to selling it for more than you bought it for.
Yeah, exactly. If you look right now, we have a $350,000 house that we're about to sell. That is not an option right now on Maui. If you are a renter who can only qualify for a $300,000 mortgage, you will be a renter forever. Your access to this building equity tool and your ability to refinance it and send your kids to college is not a tool for you. So we're creating this avenue to turn renters into homeowners for a price at that price point. And we just ask them to you can build equity, but it's got to be a modest equity. We're not going to sell you a $300,000 house and then you flip it for $2 million in 10 years. Yeah.
Well, better to be paying mortgage than paying for rent.
That's what I'm saying.
So
exactly.
I'm all for that. So thank you. Well, ladies, thank you for joining us this evening.
Thanks for having us.
We really appreciate that. And again, good luck, because that's definitely something that we need, more affordable housing and rentals. So,
yes. And I would just like to say, I was at the meeting where Autumn brought this up a week, 2 weeks after the fire in Merriman's, no power, no nothing, a bunch of us around a table trying to figure out what was next. And it was such an outlandish idea in that moment. And the miracle that it exists and has been successful like this is just fantastic.
It's a testament, I just have to say, this could have been an idea that a couple of us had in the community, could very well have said oh no, that's a little weird. But this is only working because the community, the council, the mayor, local businesses, everyone was like, this is what we're doing now. This is what we're doing.
Thank you. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Great job to both of you.
Yeah.
It's
Thank
what's going to bring back
you.
our family here. So thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Water is life. It drives all our lives, but for decades, water distribution and water shortages have been a problem on Maui. Before we talk more about it, here's a trailer from Remembering Vai by filmmaker DeAndre Makakua.
Ole Kawai, life is water. It goes not just for us kalo farmers, really, it goes for the whole entire Paʻele.
Kanaka have thrived here for thousands of years before any other contact.
Hawaii, romantic, mystical Hawaii, where the air is choked with the fragrance of a million flowers. I wonder how much you know about sugarcane and pineapples.
The mentality on the plantations part is that water flowing through the river, taking its natural course, is a waste of water. But we know different. We know better.
You know, when the plantations left, they left the lands straight dirt, and so whatever came up is the fuel for that fire. And so the plantation get on big hand in this fire, even though they've been gone for almost 30 years. Now, once sugar is gone and pineapple is gone, what was that next crop that was going to keep us tied to? It was tourism.
Part of what we're doing is kind of turning the tide on all of that. And we're fighting to establish these in-stream flow standards. We're actually fighting to also return some dignity back to our culture because so much has been lost.
Our water situation is desperate, and things have only gotten worse.
That's how I know how disconnected you guys are with the reality of what's going on in Lahaina.
That's why the golf courses and the swimming pools stay full, because they control all the water.
The most shocking, though not surprising part of all of this is the role that the governor and his affiliates played in the aftermath of the climate calamity, that they're directly responsible for this disaster.
It should have never come to this. We should have never got to this point during this kind of time that would force us to be here. Protections that's already put in place. Because it's not just us. Because every place around Hawaii who fighting to get these protections for where they're from is in jeopardy also. We're not just fighting for ourselves. Everybody, we're all fighting for all of our entire state of Hawaii. We all fight for each other, this whole place.
We putting all of our rivers back is like rebuilding and putting back that chapter in what is considered our history.
We're going to have a little break here to just see the results of the election right now.
No.
We're going to talk. Oh, okay. All right. I apologize for that. We're lucky to have in here in the studio with us filmmaker DeAndre Makakua. Thank you for being here, DeAndre. We had a short conversation and came all the way from Lahaina. Wow. We're just neighbors there and never know much about each other. So anyway, tell me, what made you decide to do this video? I mean, it's a great piece of video.
Yeah, so actually I'm from Lahaina, but I've been displaced since the fire. I live in Keokea now, up country. And that's exactly what inspired me to make this film, Remembering Vai, which this trailer was for, was because, the fire didn't start because of a negligent utility company or just dry brush. It was 150 years of resource extraction and poor land management and not listening to the indigenous wisdom that is inherent to this place. And so, after losing my home in the fire and my pregnant wife and my son and my dogs, we all had to flee from the flames, I was inspired to join my uncles in the fight for water.
Okay.
And just do all I can with, the filmmaking side to amplify their voices and bring more attention to these issues.
Are you active right now in Lahaina as far as the learning about all the water issues? Because as you know, back in the days, we had all the water and suddenly it all disappeared. I know there's all these issues right now with the golf course and everything else. So where do you stand with all of this? Are you active in getting all this water back to Lahaina? Hoping that, you know, we don't have to deal with the fire that, you know, happened 3 years ago.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so I'm an organizer with Lahaina Strong, and we are doing our part to advocate. We are not water experts, but we ourselves are doing our best to utilize the platform that we've built after the fire to support our kalo farmers and our significant water users, our water experts, because it is that understanding of ecological health. And when the water runs from Mauka to Mukai, we have the Ahupua'a stream flow. That's when we can revitalize, that's when we can reforest, bring the cloud line down, bring more water into our islands. And in Lahaina, every issue that we faced can be traced back to water. Whether it's housing, we can't build housing because we have a lack of water. We live in a dry tinderbox because all of our water systems were destroyed, diverted, our forests were cleared out, and so the cloud line is too high up in the mountains. And so if we were just to fix this one issue, which our county is making the right strides towards, then we could fix so many issues here in Hawaii. 92% imports to Maui County, we're reliant on our food imports. But if we had our water back, we could be food secure. But yeah, so those are.
So yeah, when's the last time you drove into Lahaina?
Yesterday.
Oh, yesterday. So you're looking up the mountains, and do you get nervous when you see the mountain turning brown again?
Well, I'm hopeful because our community is more engaged than ever before. Prior to the fire, most of the time it was just the significant water users and our kalo farmers who had, you know, a large stake in how we used water. That were the ones fighting for it. But now we have, you know, more community backing. We have the county who is trying to make the right strides to reverse that 77% private ownership and 23% public ownership. We're trying to flip that now. And yeah, so I'm hopeful. Despite what we see, I'm hopeful for the future because there are people who are gonna give their lives to ensure that we do the right thing and we create a sustainable future.
Well, thank you for all that you're doing. Thank you for this wonderful video. It's really educating a lot of people, and hopefully more people get to see it. Yeah, so actually, real quick to plug it, the film Remembering Way, it will be showing at the Maui Ocean Theater in a collaborative event with Sierra Club on August 25th, following a recent win at the Wailuku Film Festival. Correct. So if you guys want to see it, that's where you can. Well, great work. Yeah,
mahalo.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Okay. Aloha.
Hi, we're going to take a quick break, but while we do, we'll show you some more results that have come in after the second printout.
Akakū's 2026 Maui Nui elections broadcast is generously supported by our title sponsors, Mahi Pono, provider of high-quality Maui-grown food, and West Maui Taxpayers Association, advocating for and making a difference in West Maui, and mahalo to our business, nonprofit, and individual sponsors, and to our local food donors. Welcome back to Akakū's 2026 primary election coverage.
Welcome back to the studio. We have two more people whose associations deal with the water issues. Jordan Hawker of the Kula Community Association and Rob Wolfman of the Kihei Community Association. Thanks for being here.
Thanks
Jordan
for having us.
and Rob. I have a first questions for you here, Jordan, and thank you for being in charge of the Kula Community Association. I just wanted to ask you, how is the coming along with the fire resilience and the work that you guys are doing? Because I know most of the talk has been in Lahaina for the wildfire, but Kula was also affected by the wildfire.
Yes.
So, anything that you guys are doing there right now?
Yeah, I think that what we do best is connecting our community partners. The Kula response to the wildfires has really been similar to Lahaina, but community-driven, right? And so we have partners like the Kula Community Watershed Alliance and Malama Kula, which are both doing great work upcountry. And so we try to make sure that we share as much information as possible about what they're doing, but we also work on our own campaigns. And so one of the things we're working on right now between the state and the county is asking that water tanks are installed upcountry that could be placed in positions where they could essentially be gravity fed in times where we don't have power. So a big issue upcountry was when the power grid went down, we lost water to fight fires. People couldn't hose down their properties. And so it's something we've been working on for about a year between the governor's office and the county to try to find some shovel-ready solutions that don't take as much time to give us the fire resilience that we need.
How is that coming along?
Well, I'd like to take this moment to say any county officials or anyone who's listening,
Yes, it's a time.
we're working on it and we're hoping that we can have a collaboration because really the community knows best what we need. And we have some amazing people on our board who really have lived upcountry their entire lives and have insight and were crucial in fighting the fires when they were happening. And so we're hoping that that community guidance is taken very seriously, whether it's on the state or the county level, and we're looking forward to working with them.
Well, good luck with that.
Thank you.
And Rob, as we know, what happens upcountry affects us that live in Kihei, and we've been the recipient of a lot of the flooding from the water that has come down the mountain. With the Kihei Community Association, what types of things are you advocating for, in order to address some of the flooding that's been happening, especially more and more each year?
So there's no separating the Makai from the Mauka. I mean, the water doesn't come out of the ocean only. We have, a lot of our flooding problem comes from, even when there's not heavy rain in Kihei, there can still be heavy rain upcountry which flows down. And the mountainside has been degraded over 100 years through cattle and other things and removing the native vegetation. So what happens is it picks up silt as it runs down the mountain and floods North Kihei and then flows into the ocean, which very negatively affects our coral reefs. So we can't stop that in Kihei. It has to be stopped all the way up. We try to remove silt downstream, so provide a pathway for the water, and but ultimately we need to improve the slopes so that the water is absorbing and can be used for good purpose to restore vegetation, especially Hawaiian native vegetation, which will improve the climate, but also allow for more of the flow to be absorbed on the way down.
Right, and obviously Kihei is responsible a little bit for, paving over our wetlands.
Absolutely.
So what, I know your group has been a big advocate of saving what wetlands we have left. What can be done to stop some of this construction in areas where, it does collect the water that comes down?
Well, one thing we really want to have done is, on a political level, is to have the wetland overlay district defined and adopted by the county, so that there's no more question of should we or should we not build on this remaining wetland property. If it's a wetland property, it should be treated that way, and it should not be built on. That's probably the main thing. We need to preserve the remaining wetlands that we have so that they can fill their purpose, which is to absorb water and slow it down before it hits the ocean.
Right, we all need to work together. That's great.
It seems like you got the water coming down from up country. You're trying to catch this water, so you have water. Definitely, there's got to be some work done.
Yeah.
You had mentioned earlier that you will be having a candidate forum, and this is the time, like you mentioned, you wanted to talk to the elected officials, and this is what we need to listen to us, so that issues such as this. I mean, water. Even us in Lahaina, we need water, and that's part of the reason why we can build the homes that we want to build.
Absolutely.
So, again, that's why you're here. So if you want to talk to anyone about the issues that, need to be addressed up in Kula, take it away for a few minutes.
Yep. So, really in the spirit of how community associations have been handling this election season, KCA has done, or Kihei Community Association has done candidate forums. And so on September the 9th, we are doing a general election candidate forum with our mayor's races and contested county council races, and additionally the House races that, are pertinent to upcountry. And so that's going to be at September 9th in the Kula Community Center, or the Von Tempsky Community Center, from 6 to 8. So, and we're hoping to have it live streamed by Akakū.
Well, good luck. West Maui taxpayer does that also. So
and Rob,
do something.
I was going to say, Rob, is Kihei Community Association going to do any more?
Absolutely, September 15th. So we'll just be
Okay.
following.
Ooh, we'll have dueling.
If you missed one, you can watch this other one. And
We're doing it on September 17th.
Okay.
And Akakū will be live streaming it as well.
Beautiful, I love that.
So,
More the
anyway,
better.
thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you for having
this
you.
evening, and good luck with the work that you're doing. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Our Akakū interns are also up country to talk to the residents about their concerns. Let's take a look at this video.
What are some issues in the community that you would like to see changed?
I would like to see better support for the homeless on island. I would like more rehabilitation programs for them, and just more opportunity to get them off the ground and up on their feet.
I think for me and for a lot of people, the issue of housing for residents is an important issue, and the tension between kind of the pro-housing progressive groups on the county council and the more visitor and contractor friendly establishment on the council. So how do we figure out the balance of those two?
In Kaului, the homeless is getting worse and worse compared to when I first moved here 13 years ago. I maybe saw half a dozen. Now there's hundreds, and they're everywhere. And I worked at Home Depot as security, and I kicked out people 2-3 times a day. It got pretty bad, so it was stressful.
The fire situation, the settlement that they've put up, supposedly to put up $4 billion or something to be given out. But it's now, since how many years is it? 3 years? And nothing's been dispersed because they've been fighting with the insurance companies. And we're up in the Kula, the forgotten area, not Lahaina, but we're up in the Kula Hills. But between the fire and the payments, it'll be like, 7 years? So it's rather frustrating.
The biggest problem that I see right now is the vagrant cars and homeless people that are down on Pu'unene across from down from Safeway. To be able to present that to the world who comes and drives around our roads, since there's only 2 roads that are going up country, that ought to be addressed by the government.
Well, I think probably first and foremost, housing. I think there needs to be more affordable housing. In elections in general right now, I think one of the things that we all need to be thinking about is how can we get corporate money out of politics.
Do you have any solutions for what you're going through right now?
We're just kind of a small area, but, in Lahaina, they're putting up temporary housing. We have homeless people, but I think that's something that whoever wants to run for mayor needs to address some of these issues.
Well, I think there needs to be a determined effort to create opportunities for the people that are living in their cars and tents along that road. And Maui County has land. Get a piece of land and give the opportunity for these people to park somewhere where where they can create their own community.
I do wish the current council would be more supportive of our local residents now with the shift. It appears to be wanting to take the housing that was apartment, that maybe was going to be put back into long-term housing under the intentions of Bill 9. Now it seems like the council's shifting away from that. So it'd be nice to see people as voters try to get some more progressive candidates on the council who can support local residents and housing for residents rather than kind of the pro-visitor, pro-big business, pro-contractor lobby that seems to be controlling right now.
In the studio, we have Keoni Kuoha, who is running for District 12 State House seat to represent Upcountry. Hey, aloha, Keoni. Thank you. Thank you for driving down the hill to come down here to be with us.
Absolutely.
Appreciate it. Again, running for office, it's very hard. But the good thing is you're running for the state, so you just have to campaign around your area. You don't have to go around the island.
Yeah. No, it's a great advantage, and that way I can connect directly with the community I live in.
Mm-hmm. So, for me, it's always been very difficult for us, residing here on Maui, and then you have to go to Oahu, and then you have to deal with all the people on Oahu. So my question to you is this, is that as a freshman state legislator representing Maui County, how will you build relationships and work effectively with your colleagues in the legislature when Oahu legislators significantly outnumber those from the neighbor islands? How will you ensure that Maui County priorities, especially upcountry, and the concerns will receive the attention they deserve?
I've spent a career working across and between different interest groups with community. When you have shared interests, and that's really what you're looking for. Just because there are, legislators on Oahu doesn't mean that they don't share some of the interests that we have here on Maui. And really, it's about making change. A lot of our issues are across Hawaii: housing, water, climate change, and resilience. Those are things that we all care about and that are impacting all of us. So it's really, it's about connecting on the things that we all want to move forward and make an impact.
How are you feeling about that? Talking to the people, the issues that is out there. What is their biggest concern right now? They're upcountry.
There's a lot of concerns, and I think part of it is water, as always. Upcountry, we're always on drought restrictions. The upper Kula area really, doesn't have it. You constantly have infrastructure that's breaking and a lot of insecurity around water. And at the same time, our water resources, we look at them as limited, and we're not looking at how we might create more abundance with our water resources. So that's certainly one. Housing is always an issue, and at the same time, I feel like people, once you talk about housing, because it's, we've talked about it so long, but so few genuine solutions have been found, people are also, just jaded about housing. It's like you put a solution for it, and it's like, nothing's changed for the past 30 years. What's going to change next?
Well, yeah. Or if you're going to go out there, what would be initiative that you think would help us here? I mean, I know this is more of a county issue, but I feel like, there's this relationship between the county, the state, and the federal to make it affordable for the people of Maui County.
Yeah.
I mean, especially for us in Lahaina, it's even worse because of the fire. Of course, it's affected somewhat upcountry because of Kula.
Yep.
But do you have anything that you would want to share with us? If there's anything that could be done to help with this housing?
Absolutely. And you hit it, it's a state, it's a county, and it's a federal issue. And part of it is just really coordinating between our governments.
Mm-hmm.
So for one thing, and this is really on the county, but I think the state can support, I think the county needs to be taxing second homes at a much higher rate. And in that way, both bringing in more income so that the county can then turn around and start, and the state, and start creating rental housing that, if and when the inventory is at a certain level, they can start controlling the prices and influencing the prices. So, I think our government needs to think more creatively and look at how we can also, how do we ensure that the housing is for our local community? Autumn was here earlier, land trust is one way. Why not deed restrictions, but deed restrictions that restrict who can buy it and be restricted to residents, right? That way the cash buyers are coming from the West Coast, they don't have an advantage. And that's something that, it's not gonna happen overnight, but we need to start building those systems so that our housing can at some point in the near future be our housing again.
Yep. We gotta start somewhere, right?
Gotta start somewhere, yeah.
Anyway, we thank you for your time and joining us this evening, and good luck with out there. I know some of the press came out already here, and you've seen it. So yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you. Have a great day.
All right, Keoni.
Good night.
Aloha.
Aloha.
And also wanting to represent Upcountry is Bobby Pahia, but at the county council level. Thank you so much for coming. And if you could, talk a little bit about being a farmer, and my grandparents were farmer, and how that informs what you would like to accomplish if you were elected to the county council.
Well, like you said, I am a farmer. I have a long background in farming. And I'm big on food insecurity in Hawaii, and I've always advocated for more funding to address agriculture. And when we look at the state budget, it's evident that we lack the political will to push this agenda forward as far as addressing food insecurity in Hawaii.
What would you do at the county level? What can be done at the county level to help that? And how would you work with state officials to make food prices not only cheaper? I can't believe how expensive it is to buy food on Maui.
Yes, and you got to look at the basics for a farmer. Cost of land, availability of land, access to water, availability of water. So those are two main components. The other component that we got to be cognizant of is funding opportunities that are out there. And what I've learned from farming is that a lot of our farmers are they're ESL. English is spoken as a second language. And a lot of our farmers really lack the skill set to go after, to position themselves to be available to acquire funding. So that's what I do on a large scale. I teach farmers how to position themselves so that they can qualify for funding, because in the ag industry, you're going to need funding. The other thing too is the education part, right? That's big. And what I mean by education is like educating our farmers on how to create that collective voice, so that when we go to our county council and we go to our state representatives, as we all know, the louder the voice, the more apt they are to listen to you. So that's very important to me. And right now, Maui County has a Department of Ag. And I've always said this, that we're very fortunate to have a Maui County Department of Ag. And we're also very fortunate to have the State Department of Ag. However, having a Maui County Department of Ag is so advantageous for our local farmers here because we have more access to personnel and creating these relationships with the personnel from the Maui County Department of Ag. State Department of Ag, in my opinion, they lack the capacity to address all the needs in all the islands. Mm-hmm. So what I'm hearing from farmers is that they're very happy because they get to deal with somebody in person right here on their island.
Right. And this department's only been in existence for a couple years now. But you have seen it making progress.
Yes. You know, when you have a new department like this, and then you have a new department, you're going to have new personnel. It's going to take a while to transition, to become very efficient. However, what's available to the Maui County Department of Ag are seasoned farmers who have been in the game for a lot longer and understand how to connect the dots, so to speak.
Right. And obviously water, you already mentioned it, is always a major issue everywhere on the island. If you're on the council, what would you advocate for helping the water solution, not just in upcountry, but across the island?
Okay, water is not only a big issue in Maui County, but across the state. Okay, and number one, water is a public trust. Number two, in 2022, our residents voted and said, yay, we want to be in control of our public trust here on Maui. Hence, the current situation with the Board of Land and Natural Resources in regards to granting a 30-year permit to Mahipono. However, the water is a public trust. Our residents of Maui County said that we want to be in control of this. So, you know, there's this difference of opinion. And in my opinion, I think that we should be granting this type of access to water to the residents of Maui County other than a hedge fund in Canada.
Right, right. Well, it would be nice to have a different kind of voice on the county council, and you would bring something that the county council hasn't had in a while. So good luck with your race.
Well, thank you. Can I say one more thing?
Sure.
You know, as we know, what I've learned is that what we lack as a political voice is the collective voice. If we look at the results from today's elections, I mean, we're at 25, 26% of turnout. Well, that'll tell you something, right? Our people either lack trust in government, and I believe because of that, our people have become indifferent, and hence, they don't participate. But that's the whole problem. They don't participate. The democratic system only works if you participate in the democratic process. And I believe that we need to educate our community about the importance of civic engagement. Because I know for a fact that legislators, policymakers, and lawmakers, the most important aspect to them is to get reelected. Because if you're not reelected, you cannot play in the sandbox with everybody else, right? Well, but the problem is our people don't vote. Hence, those that do vote, you know, there's basically no threat to legislators and policymakers to do the will of the people. Hence, they do the will of special interests, big money, and that's the problem. And I believe an education program is of utmost importance. Educating our children from when they're young all the way to they're 18. Educating them about why it's important to engage civically. Right. And what are the outcomes of civic engagement versus non-engagement.
Right. Yeah, and Hawaii has traditionally had a very low turnout, you know, nationally. So that's well said. Well, thank you again, Bobby, for coming, and good luck with your race.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Bobby. With only 2 residents who battle Hansen's disease still living in Kalaupapa, the future of the place is uncertain. Let's take a look at the special place.
Kalaupapa is an isolated peninsula located at the bottom of the tallest sea cliffs in the world on the island of Molokai. It is known for being the site of a former leper colony where individuals with Hansen's disease were isolated starting in 1866. Before that, Kalaupapa was home to many Hawaiian Molokai families. Today, the future of Kalaupapa is uncertain as it is expected to undergo significant changes following the passing of the last remaining patients. Once the last patient passes, the Department of Health will leave Kalaupapa, and the smallest county in the United States, Kalawao County, could potentially merge with Maui County. Currently, the National Park Service is involved in managing the area and has developed a general management plan to guide future activities and visitor access. But on Molokai, the future of Kalaupapa remains debated and complex, with ongoing community discussions over its governance and preservation. These issues raise questions about the future role of Native Hawaiians in maintaining Kalaupapa's cultural significance. The Molokai community has expressed several issues regarding the future of Kalaupapa, especially after the recent decision by national parks to restart hiking tours. Many residents feel national parks did not adequately consult the community before resuming tours, arguing that decisions affecting Kalaupapa should involve local voices. There are also concerns over how visitors will be managed on the peninsula, and there is a growing concern over the potential impact of tourism on Molokai's rural environment and culture, stoking fears that increased tourism could disrupt the local way of life and lead to negative impacts. These issues highlight the need for ongoing dialogue between national parks and the Molokai community to avoid confrontation and address concerns to ensure that any tourism initiatives are respectful, balanced, and beneficial to all involved.
When you look at some of the makahiki stories, you have people coming from Kalaupapa that were like from Kalaupapa, going up to Naie for the makahikis. So we know from history that the people who were from Kalaupapa got, booted out into Kainalu. And even though it's national parks and even though it's Department of Land and Natural Resources, I don't think it would hurt to look back into time to see who were the families that were originally associated with those locations. Got to look back to the past and also got to look at the religious connotations. And then if there's something left over for the tourists, how did the patients want that to be handled?
In the studio, we have County Council member Keani Rawlins-Fernandez, who lives on Molokai. Welcome, Keani. Hello. One of the first questions I want to ask you is about Kalaupapa. What would you like to see happen?
That is not a question that I can answer tonight, because what I would like to see happen is for all of Molokai to have an opportunity to share their vision of what they would like to see, and to include the descendants and ohana of the patients there. I mean, for me, I look forward to Kalawao County being included in all of Molokai again. So it'll be all together, and I would like to eventually see us as a community kind of malama the area.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, you are running unopposed, so you're going to get your seat back, but the balance of the county council might shift. It's been a little bit more moderate, and there's a lot of progressive candidates. I know you're campaigning for some of them. Can you talk about what it would mean if the council became more progressive, and what things might be able, you could push for more if that was the case?
Yeah, so as you may know, others know, I've been helping Uncle Bobby, Pahia, and Auntie Carol Lee, Kamekona. I would love to work with them on the council. Some say progressive, I say aloha aina. And I really look forward to this next term, kind of advancing a lot of the legislation that I've had to kind of put on the back burner for a little bit, as some kind of got some support in the last 4 years, and some I just had to hold off on.
Can you be specific? Like if it did become more in your direction, what would be your priorities of trying to get pushed through?
Well, some of the priorities are already happening, right? So like supporting the community in getting, the West Side community and getting control over, public control over the private systems. So that's like a really high priority. So VAI back, AINA back, and just really elevate the community's voices in decision making of our natural resources. Those are some of our priorities. Continuing to reclaim our housing, adjusting our real property tax, as I think Keoni, Kuoha, who I've also been supporting, spoke about just a few minutes ago. So just really making Maui Island specifically more affordable for our people to be able to stay here.
And last quick question, for Molokai specifically, because a lot of the last 3 years has been focused on helping Lahaina and Kula recover. But what would you like to see specifically for your island?
Aina back. Yeah. And I think we'll hear a little bit more about that. But supporting Molokai Heritage Trust in the vision that we share. And you'll hear,
more.
I think that's all.
Well, thank you for coming in today, and I can't say good luck with your election because you're already the new council member.
Thank you, Keani. Well, thank you for all the work that you're doing. Continue on. Good luck.
Thank you. Thank you.
One of the big issues in Haiku is the dreaded speed bumps. Let's take a look at this rough issue.
It seems like speed bumps are popping up all over Maui. Speed bumps, speed humps, speed tables, and on the Haile Maile Road, speed cushions at $16,500 a piece. That's $165,000 for 10 of them. Good money if you can get it. But the real speed bump hullabaloo is in Haiku. And at a recent mayoral forum in Haiku, resident Greg Blue had this to say.
These speed tables have been creating unacceptable delays for emergency service vehicles and are causing severe suspension damage to residents' cars and trucks. They are forcing frustrated drivers into reckless passing maneuvers, creating property damage, stress, and road rage for people who have to drive over 20 to 60 of these installations every single day. This is not a small inconvenience. It is a public safety and transportation problem. What the community has been left with is a set of visibly non-compliant installations that should have been removed or replaced long ago. Instead, the county is still talking about more review, even though the problem has already been acknowledged and identified.
We have with us Lucienne, President of Haiku Community Association. So, Lucienne.
Oh, good evening.
Good evening.
Mahalo. Nice to see you guys.
The speed bumps in Haiku.
Well, what a segue.
Tell us more about that.
Well, first of all, I have to say that, we're very proud in Haiku of our Malama projects, too. I mean, we are definitely there to listen to the community about speed bumps, but we are taking care of some things for people in Haiku that are very important, like the most popular children's playground on Maui is in Haiku, and our community association as a project manager to have volunteer maintenance of this very unique playground. So we're very, very proud of that. The speed bump issue, and it's supposed to be speed tables, is about accountability. You know, who was informed? Was the right process followed? And if so, would we have ended up with this many speed bumps in such a short distance? And I think most of us are hearing that the answer is probably not. Do we need some speed bumps in our neighborhood? Probably we do. I personally know people who lobbied to get speed bumps in their quiet side street in the Haiku neighborhood. But do we need them every, every few hundred feet on a major artery that people have to traverse hundreds of times every day? Hundreds of trips every day, not the same person. Probably that could have been better thought out. And that's where we hear the outcry from our community, because it's affecting people's lives and it's affecting their safety. So it's important. There are other things that are important in Haiku. Invasive species are very important in Haiku too. And we're hearing a lot of community weighing in on our folks at Maui Invasive Species are trying to do, they're trying to stem this tide of so many different invasive species with basically the same budget they've been working with in past years. And it's just not working. We need to hire more people, pay higher salaries, and just get out there. It's so disappointing that people can't get a MISC employee because there just aren't any to come out, and we need to whack back these frogs, the fire ants. They're not kidding, and we shouldn't be kidding with them. So these are real issues in our community. On the bright side, we are monitoring our streams, and we're getting great data on what keeps them healthy and what's not so good for them, so that we can be co-managers as time passes by.
How are we coming along with the fire station out there in Haiku?
Well, there's a hearing tomorrow, or Monday, sorry. This is Saturday. And we'll see how that unfolds. The Community Association is very supportive of getting it online as soon as possible. However, we have heard that there are possibly some land title concerns to be rectified. And if that's the case, they should be rectified. We should have a fair process.
That's wonderful. Mr. Pahia was here earlier, and he was talking about the low voter turnout. Maybe you could share it with you, because you guys have a nice turnout over in Haiku, right?
We are the largest precinct on Maui.
Yes.
We used to be 3 separate precincts, and they all got jammed together. So if we have a little higher return, it's because there's more people that could vote. And people do care. Our forum was very well attended. Yes. And it was very well viewed on Akakū. Hundreds of people viewed it, our mayoral forum. So we're proud to be a forum for our community. That's our mission in Haiku for the Community Association.
Well, thank you so much for joining us this evening, and thank you for the work that you guys are doing up there in Haiku. So we appreciate it, because what happens in Haiku with the invasive species could affect the entire island of Maui.
It will. We're on the front lines there. Yes.
The lead on that, we appreciate it.
Mahalo. Happy to be here.
Okay,
thank you for sharing this time, and thank you everybody who voted.
Yes. All right, Lucienne, have a wonderful evening. Again, mahalo.
Also in the studio, we have Kanoe Batangan, and you are running for the Wailuku seat on County Council.
Kahului seat.
Would I say Kahului? Yes. Sorry. And obviously, you have had a few months in the job, and could you talk a little bit about what you learned and how you would take that knowledge into a full term?
Sure. Hey, thank you guys for having me. Kanoe Batangan, the current council member representing the Kahului residency area. I was appointed earlier this year to finish the term of the late Tasha Kama, and it's been a whirlwind of a 6 months, but I feel like I'm making a meaningful difference so far. We went through budget. I've had a few months as chair of the Great Committee, and I think I've been doing great work there. untangling some conflicts of interest, taking up the fraud, waste, and abuse report throughout the county, trying to change some of the systematic gaps that allow for mistrust in government. I think we're doing a good job of addressing some of those concerns to build voter confidence and constituent confidence in the work that county is doing.
Yeah, we were talking about low turnout and the low trust in government, and there's been a couple of lawsuits against the county and those sorts of things. How do you think that you can help, on the county council to build some of that trust back?
Well, I mentioned we were starting to untangle the conflicts of interest. The charter hadn't had a good way for us to deal with instances in which the mayor and corporation council were conflicted, and my committee has done some work to try to carve a path forward with that. I think that the entire council wants to see an improvement in trust in the work that we do, and there's been, fortunately, good buy-in for that as well. And then I think the charter amendments that we're going to put forth for the voters to consider will go a long way in that as well.
You've talked a lot about diversifying the economy. On the council, what do you see that could be done, to take it a little bit less away from, a very tourism dominant to some of these other types of economies like technology and things like that?
I think we have to have different models for different parts of our community. As you know, Maui Nui is very diverse. So one of the things that we're trying to work on in my office is creating opportunity zones, enterprise zones, and maybe even free enterprise zone or a free trade zone in the Central Maui corridor to spur economic investment. We as government can create conditions in which social and economic development can occur, and I think that makes sense for the Kahului-Wailuku corridor. We can create conditions in which there are more mixed-use, transient-oriented development. And then for more rural communities, we can create opportunities for people to have meaningful employment in the agricultural sector. Trying to put a state-certified commercial kitchen in each of our moku, and then partner with the state to create value-added ag products. So we can create facilities and then partnerships for the education and the programming that would allow people to maintain the lifestyles that they cherish in the rural communities, and then still be able to live and work, where they have for the last few generations.
When you talk about conditions in Central Maui, what are you talking about, and how will those conditions lure different kinds of businesses and things like that will diversify the economy?
Well, I mentioned enterprise zones, opportunity zones. Those are tax incentives. We can also use the land use framework to help spur economic development. We want mixed use opportunities so people can live, work, and thrive where they're at in their communities. So businesses, homes in livable, walkable communities with meaningful and interesting things to go to.
Did you ever think you were going to be in this position about 6 months ago?
Not 6 months ago. Just even a few months before she passed, Councilmember Kama had called to tell me that she was planning on running for one more term. I definitely didn't think I'd be in council while my kids were still not sleeping through the night.
Yeah.
It's definitely a challenge to have young ones with this type of job, but it's meaningful, and I'm glad I'm able to serve in this capacity.
Well, thank you so much for coming in, and best of luck in your race.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Thank you.
We are fortunate this evening to have Albert Perez, the Executive Director of Maui Tomorrow, a nonprofit community organization protecting Maui's precious natural areas. Welcome, Albert.
Aloha.
How you doing? Aloha.
Aloha, Rick.
How's everything?
Well, trying to stay busy.
Well, I don't think you have to try to be busy. You're always busy. So, again, thank you for all the work that you guys are doing with, with Maui Tomorrow. You guys have done a great job. Earlier, Lucienne was here with us talking to us about what they're doing up in Haiku. So what things have you guys keeping you busy with Maui Tomorrow?
Well, how much time do you have?
Well, 2 minutes.
2 minutes. No, I would just, I would focus on probably what I think is the most important thing right now, which is water. Because we need water for housing, we need water for agriculture, we need water for many things, and our water supply appears to be diminishing with climate change. So that has been a lot of our focus, but we're also focusing on affordable housing and trying to make sure that that infrastructure is prioritized for affordable housing. Because right now, our so-called affordable housing system provides 80% market rate homes, which in places like Wailea, et cetera, they're millions of dollars. So local people cannot buy this kind of stuff or even rent.
When you say you're working to help with the affordable homes, exactly what kind of work are you guys doing in that regards?
Well, we do try to support affordable housing. See, Maui Tomorrow, we're focusing, we support ecologically sound development. That's been our mission for 37 years. And there are some projects, what you see in the news is the projects that we don't like because we file a lawsuit against it. Or we rally the community to make sure that what the community plan says is what is actually going to be happening. So we defend the community plans. But yeah, it seems to be that the priority for infrastructure, for affordable housing and for highways, et cetera, it's not there. If you, as a developer, go to the water department, it pretty much doesn't matter what you're building. As long as there's water, they will serve you. And so, because affordable housing is taking a long time to get through the line, then they end up losing out.
But don't you think if this infrastructure is be the responsibility of the county or the state, and work with the home builder, wouldn't that make those properties a little bit more affordable instead of just kind of like making all the developers pay for it all?
Well, if we were building truly affordable housing that didn't disappear after 10 or 12 years, then maybe it would make sense for the government to be paying for infrastructure. But what's happening is our 2.96 workforce housing ordinance, things go to market. And so if you happen to get a workforce house, it's like you won the lottery. But then after a little while, I think they upped it now to 12 years maximum. Then you can cash
Take
out.
the lottery, yes.
Yeah. So we're back to square one in terms of our pool of truly affordable housing is not increasing like it should. So what we are, I really like the model of Lahaina Community Land Trust, and I think we need to be pushing more for that kind of thing. Also, I would like to see more community-based economic development. Council member Batangan was talking about economic development. But I think we really need to focus on development that serves local people. So with community-based economic development, the community forms a corporation, and any profits that they make, they plow it back into the community, whether it be for housing or just any kind of local projects that do serve the community. Instead of this extractive model that we have right now, where people come in, the capitalists coming in, Leadcore, for example. Hi, David. Leadcore is a Canadian company. And so the profits that they make are going to be taken and sent to Canada. We need to be recycling the economic benefits here on Maui.
Instead of sending it
Absolutely,
offshore.
Absolutely. I mean, the history of Hawaii since 1778 has been one of extraction. extraction for profit of outsiders.
Well, thank you for, again, those are, like you said, earlier you started, how much time do I have? Unfortunately, that's another discussion for another time. I mean, we've had a lot of conversation and things like this. So, Albert, thank you again for joining us this evening. We appreciate and thank you for the work that you guys are doing at Maui Tomorrow, holding a lot of the people here accountable. So we appreciate it.
Thank you, Rick. That went really fast.
I know.
Okay.
Yes,
All right.
Appreciate it.
Now with housing costs, as we know, going through the roof, many people have a difficulty at time affording, finding a place to live. Longtime homeless advocate Lisa Darcy, it's been a long night. Lisa Darcy is here with us in the studio, so thank you so much, Lisa, for being here.
Oh, you're welcome. It's nice to see you. And
I
can't believe you're still awake.
Me neither.
Fill that coffee cup up.
I know. Obviously, homelessness on the island has been a problem for a long time, and it was exacerbated by the fires. What all the people have tried a million things. What do you think is the #1 area where we're not trying enough or we're going in the wrong direction?
Well, I actually don't believe we have tried very many things. And one of the things I'd really like to see is a lot more community-based opportunities. I really believe our community associations have an unbelievable amount of enthusiasm in them. We don't seem to be able to generate much willingness to try new things in a leadership level. And I'm really confident that the community itself is the one that can really provide creative solutions, such as, we know that the other thing is, to preface this whole conversation, is homelessness is a mainland event. There was no such thing as homelessness, 200 years ago, pre-contact of the United States. So it's actually a system. It's a system that's developed over time. And one of the pieces I'd really like to see in some of the creative solutions is to have more locally, culturally sensitive solutions. And there are a lot of people that would like to live closer to the land, live on the, they grew up in the parks, they grew up camping and fishing and swimming and all, and that's evaporated for them. And I think those are components that are really important that need to be considered in any sort of a solution. But again, community associations, there's a lot of infrastructure that exists already. There's already parking lots that aren't being used. There's already buildings that aren't being, that are abandoned. Those could easily be converted into rest stops, into anywhere where it's safe and where people won't get tickets or citations. There's such thing as a camping citation.
Right.
Camping is a recreational event, and when you are forced to live, and people are being forced to live in these conditions because they haven't added any shelter beds, they haven't added any of these safe places for people to go, they're forced to live in these conditions. Living in a tent is not camping. You're not, anyone's sitting around the campfire making s'mores, and they're going to go home over the weekend, So I'd really like to see the criminalization ended, and some of the solutions would be to obviously make sure that people are in a safe place where there's water, there's hygiene, there's connections to services in ohana, to stop breaking ohanas up and housing one part of a family but not the other part. When I worked down at Kanaha for many years, I was so amazed at the beauty that families showed each other, and one or two would get picked and selected to go into housing, but they didn't want to leave, and they're like, I'm not leaving my family. I can't leave my family. That's a really important cultural aspect to this community that gets disregarded when there's funding sources or when there's expectations. So yeah, I'd really like to see a lot more families and community have some say in providing some solutions. Incentivize, a garage, like having somebody stay in a garage. Anything to get somebody out of the elements and to give them a place where they can sleep and get a night's sleep.
Right. I mean, it's not a perfect solution, but they talked about the safe parking program and just having a place that has a little bit more safety, especially if you're, you know, a woman or have children or whatever, because, you know, there's obviously addiction problems and stuff, and it's not good for everybody to be together. But, you know, the county started the program, but it hasn't really gone anywhere. Would you like to see that program, you know, at least tried and see if it, you know, helps out?
Well, just a little history. I'm the original author of that,
Yes,
so
I
as
knew that.
you know, thank you for that. Yeah, no, and it isn't. It's changed into something I don't recognize, and I'm always open to whatever it's morphed into. However, it's like a security company. It's not going to be. It was going to be in a park. It was going to be in and out. It was going to be in a healing location, and there were going to be services that. Now it's a completely different animal. I don't recognize it at all. While I'm happy to try something, it certainly doesn't have the kind of the local flavor that it was started out to have, and with the intention. And it certainly had no. It was $200,000, and now it's like going to be like 1.2 million just to pave when we have parking lots.
Yes.
Like we have parking lots. We could have done this like 5 years ago. You know, there were pallet structures put up, they were taken down. Why were they, you know, why were they not moved? Why didn't we replicate that? That was something that actually got a lot of people into housing, into like more permanent housing. And then it was just taken down and moved away after COVID when it really served a great purpose.
Absolutely. And, you know, and obviously one of the issues also is trying to get more services in terms of mental health and, you know, in any kind of addiction, whether it's drugs or alcohol. You know, I know you've been pushing for that. You know, I guess it's just the continue to push.
Yeah, and you know what? I came here over 20 years ago to work in mental health. And Maui was in a crisis then, and it's only gotten worse. And the lack of funding for mental health, the lack of funding for addiction, there's a massive technological divide as well. I remember about 10 years ago, I was doing a lot of resumes for people, and a lot of local men coming in, and they never had a resume, because local style, you shake your hand, I know you, I know uncle, I know auntie, okay, you come work, you know, and then everyone having to put all their resumes online, upload. There's still a massive technology gap. And now on top of that, everybody has to have a smartphone. It has to be plugged in. It has to be charged. At the shelter, you can put your name on the wait list. If you miss that one call, they just move on to the next person. Yeah. And you could have waited 3 months for that call. And if your phone's not charged, those are the pieces that I don't think people really understand until you live through it, or until you sleep in the car and you get woken up and have a flashlight in your face, and it's terrifying. And if you didn't have a mental health issue, there's no way you can't cope at all with how the community looks at you. And I mean, there's some great churches doing really great work, and the amount of boots on the ground that happened since COVID and the fires is just a testimony to how strong this community is. But it's not. There's no consistent training. There's no oversight of who's doing what. That's a real issue if this community is going to heal from the many layers of needs that it has. So yeah, we just keep pushing and keep educating.
Well, thank you so much for the work that you've done for 20 years on the island, and someday we won't need you.
I know, I'm looking, well, yeah, that's okay. I just like kick it somewhere, but that's okay.
Go into the sunset.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Lisa.
You're so nice to see you. Thank you.
You too.
Lisa, thank you so much. All right, let's go take short, give the results for the governor, mayor, and the council member. So currently, we are looking at 82% of Governor Just Green, which is...
No surprise.
Yeah. Next one would be the mayor's race.
Yeah.
Well, I got the mayor's race here. Okay, 45%, 11,000 to Yuki Lei's.
Yeah, we don't see Yuki Lei's. There we go.
34%, 9,000. So we're the difference about 3,000 right now.
Right.
And the council races that is, okay, in Wailuku, okay, Marvin Moniz, right there.
There you are.
8,900. Yeah. Kauanoe is ahead in Kahului.
Okay. And
all right.
So now we have a familiar face on Maui. Marvin Moniz is here with us in the studio. Most people know him as working at the airport for many moons. But now you're changing course, right? And you're running for county council. Welcome so much.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
And what made you decide that you wanted to make this radical change?
Well, you know, I see a lot of people throughout the airport every day, and I started having discussions with a lot of the local residents, and they were leaving Maui. So I started talking, having conversations more and more each day, and I started to learn a lot of them were moving away for reasons that they could not afford to live here anymore. They couldn't get a job. And of course, now with the gas prices going up as well. So there was a lot of concern in my heart. I'm a Maui boy. I love Maui. I love the people of Maui. So I decided to, hey, I'm going to put my hat in there and see what I can do to help our community. I want to be support the community. I want to be solution-based for our people. So that's made me go for it.
Well, one of the things I saw at one of the forums that you were at is you were kind of touting your relationship with people at the state level. And obviously, county government and state government, they need each other for various things. So how do you think you could leverage some of that experience dealing with the state at the county council level?
Yes, so I've had the opportunity to work with county council members on a few projects here in Maui that the county and the state worked on. I was able to work with our state legislators on budgets, projects for the airport, and also working with our congressional delegation out of Washington, D.C. And so I think my experience in government with those three different agencies, also working with FAA, TSA, Homeland Security, and all those agencies, I think I've learned a lot, and I want to bring a lot to the table in terms of that relationship with government.
Just changing course a little bit on the election, but I've been to a lot of the meetings about the airport runway at Kahului. Can you just give our viewers a little update on where that's at and how that project is going? Because obviously that runway is very, very important to all of Maui.
Yes, it is. So currently, there's a few examples that we're sharing with the community now. We did have a few community town hall meetings. One project was to build a parallel runway. So when we build a parallel, that way we're able to work on the existing runway. The other option was to take an existing taxiway and convert it into a runway while rehabbing the main runway. So right now we're working with the federal government, with the FAA to see what kind of funding we can do. Some of these projects, the FAA will fund 75% and we put in the 25 matching. Smaller airports that we manage, such as Molokai and Lanai, they cover 90 or 95% of those projects. So for the Kahului one, you know, we're still in the process of doing an environmental assessment, and we're working with the FAA to see if actually we can get those funds that we need to actually put this runway in. And it's needed. The runway is old. It's never been rehabilitated.
World War II, right?
Yes, exactly. So, hey, we got to get that thing going. It's our economic driver, so we got to take care of it.
And if you were elected to the council, what would be one of your main priorities, other than housing? Because everybody knows that housing is a major issue.
So I think one of my first priorities would be I would really want to get with each director of each department. I would want to sit down with them. I want to see what's the needs of that department. Is it budget concerns, it's just staffing concerns, and just need to hear what they need to do to better government. We can streamline some areas, we can cut some costs. As we all know, the cost of everything is going up, from materials to labor. And of course, shipping materials here has been a crisis for us also at the airport. So yeah, we want to sit down with them right off the bat to see what the real issues are. And I think we can probably streamline some of the process and expedite some of the work.
And you know, there's so many different issues, but you were talking about, you know, when I saw you, about all the people leaving and, you know, and leaving the mainland and never coming back, you know, other than maybe to visit Grammy and Grandpa. But, you know, how can you, you know, or what issues would you try to do so that that is a possibility of the people that have already left to come back?
Yeah, so the people that left, I think we just got to start looking at some type of incentives for people to return. I think looking at lower taxes. We should be taxing the higher end for the bigger homes, and these homes, such as homes that the locals have, we can reduce the cost of taxes. That would help a lot. Even looking at some type of farming or ranching on unused land that the state and county owns, that we can help these people cut costs and they can come back to Maui.
That's awesome. Well, thank you very much, Marvin, for coming in, and good luck with your race.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Thank you, Marvin.
Okay, aloha.
All right, goodbye. Well, you know, it's been a long evening.
It has been a long evening.
And we will close tonight's Akakū's Maui Nui primary election, remembering the lives that were lost 3 years ago in the Lahaina fire. Good night, everyone. It was an honor to be here with Cami and all everyone we talked to this evening. Don't forget for the general election next.
Yes, thank you for being here with you, Rick. And yes, go out and vote on November 3rd.
Good night. Hoi ho. Aloha.
Akakū's 2026 Maui Nui elections broadcast is generously supported by our title sponsors, Mahi Pono, provider of high-quality Maui-grown food, and West Maui Taxpayers Association, advocating for and making a difference in West Maui. And mahalo to our business, nonprofit, and individual sponsors, and to our local food donors.